Now, say my name.
The Rolling Bad Podcast.
You're goddamn right.
Coming to you almost live from Nurgle's Garden in Rio Rancho, New Mexico, it's the Rolling Bad Podcast, episode number 120. That's almost, wow, that's a lot. That's 5-6 score. Whew. It's December 12th, and I'm your host, Bill. I swear to God, I feel fine. Castello, and with me today,
all the way from High Fleet Leviathan, it's Joshua, the Great Clean One, Alt.
Oh, I like those subtle references with the not so subtle, part. Oh, wow. It's been a while, Josh.
It has been. Life has that funny way of, taking you at the knees.
But I'm
here all podcast, folks.
Oh, good deal. Try the pork chops. Okay. So yes, what Josh is referring to is, I think I mentioned it in the last show, but I did tear my MCL, and I thought it was just a little tiny, oh, well, this is going to hurt for a little while kind of tear. But in reality, it was the kind of tear where they had to do surgery and put it back.
Oof.
So that took me out of circulation for a few days while that recovered. And then I hate to say this, but I had a little COVID experience where we tested positive, except we had nothing, no symptoms, no nothing. And 2 days later, got a negative test. So It was probably an aberration, but the thing is you still have to quarantine. You know? You still have to do all the, and of course it was right at the moment that we were going to have a little local happy get together. So needless to say, I missed all of that fun, which I was truly planning to go have fun at. So.
Well, I think that you were getting just way too hyped for Nurgle and decided that you were going to embody the grandfather's blessing.
I think, yeah. Because, when Grandpa says have fun, he means it.
Yeah.
He means it. And that little segue should tell you what we're covering today, because we are going to talk about our first initial impressions. We are going to talk about our first initial impressions of the Battletome Nurgle. Maggotkin of Nurgle.
Yes.
Yes, because English are hard.
Yeah, and just to be clear, it's not that we received any advanced copies or anything. Everyone else did.
Yes.
And so we were able to leech off of them.
Yes.
In order to see what we could see. And we're going to give you our thoughts about where we think this book could go.
Yeah, huge shout out to Ash up there at Gorilla Miniatures Gaming, or sometimes known as Man Who Reads Book. He did his normal, I'm just going to give you this as it goes page by page.
Yep.
So thank God for him. And also I got a lot of my stuff from Radio Free Hammer Hall, Paul Conti out there. He did a phenomenal breakdown, but again, he doesn't have a advanced copy, but he are a good source. And I noticed this morning that there's about 20 different book reviews on there.
Yep.
A mix of, I have a preview copy and I'm just, going off of what I heard. So yeah, there's a lot of people in the same boat. Row, row, row your Nurgle boat to become drowned men.
Feeling a little gut rotty over there?
Yeah. I promise two things. I will not sing again, and I will not try that stupidly bad pun.
All right, folks, hold on to that. Make sure you keep Bill honest.
Yeah. I may sing again. That music moves me. So
I mean, when Nurgle comes, he puts you in such a good mood.
He does. He really does. Thank the cosmos for Grandfather Nurgle. Whew. So let's jump into New Dawn, because we're not going to cover everything that's come out in the last month. But the highlights have to be the long-awaited Hole in the Dragon's Arm. I mean, dragons from GW. I got to tell you, I looked so forward to these dragons, and I cannot wait to build this guy and the other one that I have coming. And when I saw that first news started breaking, you know, I saw one report of somebody's like, there's a big hole in the chest. And I was like, oh man, that sucks for that poor dude. And then come to find out, like, it's every box. Uh-oh.
You know, Kai down at the shop actually got a full model. And he was very upset about that because he couldn't go to customer service and be like, GW, send me another one.
Wow, yeah. I haven't even opened mine. Maybe we will open it here later during the show. And
open it on stream.
Yeah, and say, is your arm broken? It's just, you know, at the same time, and I'm going to go full scale GW apologist mode here for a moment. When you look at the volume of kits that they put out and the number of times there's been widespread casting errors, I think you can literally count it on one hand. I mean, there are individual kits that come out where, you know, a piece is completely malformed. You know, it happens sometimes.
Frost sabers for Ogre Watchbox.
Yeah, okay.
But that was resin. That was resin.
That was resin. That was not, yeah. So, I mean, honestly, it's going to happen. These things are going to creep into the production thing. It sucks that it happens now.
Yep.
When it's so hard to get and when there was so much hype over these dragons. And I'm sure they're just beside themselves with anger about the fact that this happened. But it happened. And if you have one, either fix it with green stuff or, you know, contact GW customer service. They'll tell you how to go about the process, and you'll have 2 dragons. They will make it right. So
miss one piece, get second dragon.
Bonus.
Yeah.
You know, bonus.
You miss one piece, you get an entire model. Woo! Let's hope that's what it is, though. Those dragons are so beautiful. I saw them in person yesterday.
Oh, God.
Kai had them all built. Oh, man.
It's absolutely sickening. And I was, you know, looking at the painters that I enjoy looking at their work and what they did. And I'm just like, wow, some of these are just so good. But again, this is a model, and there's enough detail on this model that you can go to town. You can push yourself on that model so easily, or you can throw contrast at it and get it done and on the table in a few hours.
And it will look amazing.
And yeah, it still looks phenomenal because of the detail of those sculpts. And to me, you know, this is what does separate GW from all those other model making companies. And, you know, I know there's people that do resin stuff that is 10 times better sculpt wise than what GW does. But a lot of times those models look great, but you also have to paint them great to bring out what's good about them.
Yeah.
Whereas, you know, the average GW Blight King, literally spray it with Wraithbone, hit it with Plaguebearer Flesh, highlight the armor, put it on the table. And no one is going to say, oh, that looks like shit. So,
I mean, it kind of does look like
but nobody's going to say that.
Eric down at the shop, he was trying to make a Rotbringer Sorcerer back when there wasn't the cool new model that was just released, guys.
God.
And what he did is he did 3 Nurglings in a trench coat, and he just stacked them on top of each other. And
God.
And then he used green stuff to make the trench coat, and then he started like painting it brown, and then he's like, what do you think of the trench coat? And I was like, it looks like and he's like, he had this look on his face like he was like shocked. I was like, no, but literally, like it looks like a trench coat made out of shit, and that works.
That's really good.
Only when you're talking about Nurgle, man.
That's right. That's right. This is the one army that you can literally do a horrible paint job and say, wow, that's really good.
Yeah.
So, oh man, so much fun. Yeah, the Nurgle drop was, of course, the book is coming out. I think I'm going to throw, again, mad props to GW for, they're going to release the book. And when you order the limited edition, collector's edition, flat out right then and there, they tell you that this isn't going to be hitting your door for 2 to 3 months.
Yep.
So don't be looking for it Saturday. You ain't going to get it. However, the book will be out and you'll be able to play with your toys. And if you're like me, you use the collector's edition for the bookshelf and the actual edition for playing. It's the best of both worlds.
Oh, yeah.
So, of course, the dice, you know, GW, I love you. $35 freaking dollars for 20 dice.
Yep.
Whose claim to fame is you finally figured out to put the symbol on the 6. Okay. I mean, come on, people. 35. I understand the GW name tax. I get it. Chessex somehow seems to be able to make dice less expensively than that. I'm just saying. Maybe you should talk
throw
to
it
them.
out there.
Yeah, it's an idea for marketing
Yeah.
to look at. Anyway, yeah, the data cards are coming out, and honestly, with all the things that we're going to talk about later for Nurgle, I think the data cards are kind of going to be a must.
They could be really good.
Mm-hmm.
They'd be really good, unless you've got a great memory.
If
for
you have
every
eidetic
single
memory,
thing.
yeah, forget it. But other than that, yeah, and they also did the Rotbringer Sorcerer model, which thank you for that. I don't have to sit there and tear up all those old, what's his name? So the old sorcerer models and what the hell was the one I used? Necromancer.
Oh, yeah.
I used a bunch of necromancers for Nurgle sorcerers.
Yeah, now it actually looks like it belongs to the Megakin of Nurgle. It's not just some really strangely small guy with an ugly face and a wizard robe. I don't know. That model was so old.
Yeah, it was just really, it didn't age well. So then there is also some Vanguard boxes that are coming out. They got of course, a Nurgle box. Hello. Incidentally, really nice looking value there.
Really solid value.
Yeah.
Like the number of points you get in there is actually pretty substantial.
Well, yeah, that's because everything costs 9,000 points now. You can field an army of one unit.
Yeah, 500 points. Here's my great unclean one.
Exactly.
News at 9. So, I mean, it just looks great. I mean, you get a wide variety of things. You get some mortals, you get some demons.
Yep.
And not like trash mortals or trash demons.
Right.
Like they're like
you're
things
getting
you
Blight
legit use.
Kings and you're getting Plague Drones and Plague Bearers and what's his name? Lord of Afflictions, right? Is it?
Well, you got the 2 Puscoil Blight Lords, which can make a Lord of Afflictions plus an additional Puscoil Blight Lord, or you can make the Puscoil Blight Lords. And then you get, is it Scrivener in this one? I think it's Scrivener.
I think so.
Pretty sure. 10 Plague Bearers. I think the Puscoil Blight Lords used to be like $60 for 2 themselves or something like that.
Yeah.
And then you have, I think it's like $50 some for the Blight Kings. It's $36 for the Plague Bearers. Mm-hmm. And the Scrivener is like $34. So it's a pretty good value.
It's a gonga deal. And the Stormcast Eternal Vanguard box, it's the only way to get Indrasta now without getting a Dominion set. So
Is it a Vanguard box or is it just the 2? It's the 1 sprue, isn't it?
I think they called it the Vanguard boxes. I think they referred to it as a Vanguard box.
Yeah, it's Indrasta, 3 Annihilators, and the not ancient. Way to go, 40k head.
Okay, it's Indrasta. Thunderstrike command set includes Night Vexilor, 3 Annihilators. These are the Hammer Annihilators. And, of course, Indrasta. And no, they don't call it a Vanguard box.
It's a command.
Yeah, it's Thunderstrike command. Dun, dun, dun.
And the thing is with this and with the Cruel Boys is that if you recall a Dominion box, if you opened one, she was on a sprue with those 4 other models.
Right.
Actually, no, I think it's 3 other models, and then you had the Night Vexilor on the side, right?
Yeah, because they're trying to get rid of them.
Yeah. And so the only way to like sell Indrasta is with 3 Annihilators.
Yeah.
Right? Which, if you need Hammer Annihilators, if you want other Indrasta, I know I do to make Celestine.
Sure.
It's great.
Yeah, and again, if all you want is Indrasta, you'll be able to find homes for the rest of those models.
Oh, yeah.
So you will find homes.
Someone might want to play Annihilators.
I love my Annihilators. I actually bought 3 with the Grand Hammers. So in the greater scheme of Stormcast, it's one of the lists I want to play is that Annihilator heavy or just the heavy troop list to see if you can make that work. Because again, the beauty of that Stormcast book is there's so many different builds in there. And
it's just, what do you take alongside the dragons, right?
Technically, yeah. Oh man, oh god, dragons! Yay! Okay, I'm giddy.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't care what you think. You can say that I'm in their pocket if you want. We all know I'm not. Those dragons are awesome, and Stormcast are fun, and Stormcast are cool.
Stormcast are cool.
So there.
I think it's gonna be kind of fun. We'll get into a little bit later, but like point cost now since they hiked the points on the dragons, them versus the Puscoil Blight Lords.
Yeah.
We're going to see those battles in the sky, I think.
Yeah. It's you're going to have to lean into dragons. They're not cheap. And well, they shouldn't be. They're powerful and they're going to be fun to play, I think.
Yeah.
There's going to be, I can envision fights with giants and dragons. All the big models will have interesting interactions with dragons, and I think they'll be fun.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where, math hammering is one thing, and saying, I can just do the strict probability Archeon versus a dragon is going to do this. But when you actually get to the table and there's real people rolling real dice is when it gets different.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, I can see a lot of fun with dragons and, Stormcast overall. The Cruel Boys boss crew, you get to kill a boss on Great Nash Tooth. Yeah, you get 3 Mad Skewer Bolt Boys. So if you were looking for a sort of more wallet-friendly opportunity to get those the Skewer Boys, this is a great box. I like it.
Yeah, because the normal ones are 3 for 45. I got to be frank. The ones that are like push to fit, essentially.
Yeah.
Right? Oh my God, they're so much nicer to put together, and I like the aesthetic on them more.
Yeah.
Like I built 2 boxes of the Bolt Boys when they released, and the one where it's the leader, cranking back.
Yeah.
The bow. I hated putting that model together.
I'll bet you that was a beast.
Yeah.
Not literally, but yeah.
I will never build that pose again.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna make it probably like another 12-ish.
Yeah.
9-ish of those models, but I don't think I'm going to ever do that pose again.
You're not doing that
For the leader, you just glue the flag on their back, and you're like,
"Hey,
that's
done."
the leader. I finished. I don't need to do this crap."
Oh man,
yeah.
Talk about nice.
And then, near and dear to my heart, Shadow Throne was a pre-order yesterday.
What a lame box.
I know. Custodians suck. Right?
Yeah, who would... literally... Okay, so Gene Stealers. Ooh, big deal. Talk about the lousiest faction in freaking 40K. Ooh, and Custodies.
Literally, though. GSC sucks right now.
However... yeah, that is a crazy cool looking box. And that's the kind of box... I didn't order it for some odd reason. I have no interest in Custodes. And... I have enough Gene Stealer. That box really didn't hit me. But if you were wanting to get into either one of those, what a great box.
Oh, particularly for the Gene Stealers, I would say.
Oh, God.
Because you get the, was it the Brood Coven or whatever? Mm-hmm. Where you get the Patriarch, you get the Primus, you get the Magus, right? You get all that, which is a must.
Yeah.
A straight up must for GSC. You get the Reductus Saboteur and you get troops.
Yep.
On the Custodes side, you get more Sisters of Silence models than you do Custodes. But you do get 3 of the Terminators. You do get the new Blade Champion, who looks... Yep. He's going to be pretty spicy in combat. And then the Sisters, actually, I think their updates look pretty good, too.
Yeah.
But solid box. I'm here for the Reductus Saboteur because I want to, set up mortal wound bombs in the way of everything.
Yeah.
I'm going to get my Gene Stealers, and we're going to seize the means of production and rise up against the oppressors. And, they got political.
Oh, well. Darn it.
Better red than dead. I mean...
You get out of my house. No. Get off my lawn.
Got a little Cold War in here real quick.
So, yeah, definitely Shadow Throne is a super, super box. If you're looking to, get into either one of those or, buff up the forces you have. Yep. Or if literally, there's some kill teams in there. I just went through puberty real quick. Yeah.
Bill's aging backwards, folks.
Yes. Call me Benjamin Button. Yeah, there's so many opportunities in that box. There's so many different reasons why you would get it. And to be quite honest with you, Custodes, however you want to pronounce it, they haven't been really represented in any of these battle forces or battle boxes before. Yeah. So I think it's really kind of it's a strange box, but really cool. And of course it harkens to the events of the Shadow Throne. And if you're facing Custodes and Sisters of Silence with Gene Stealers, that kind of points to one place. Terra. Whoopsie. So yeah, we got the dice, the cards, all the Christmas stuff is out. If you have access to a store, if you want to order stupid stockings or wrapping paper, which I probably should have gotten but didn't. They have cards that you can send to people if you're into that sort of thing. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And then the elephant in the room. You want to hit this one?
Yeah, there's this game apparently a lot of people liked back in around 2011. I thought it was, pretty all right. But we got this major trailer drop for Space Marine 2. So stoked.
Oh, God, yes. Oh, my Lord.
Yeah, just, seeing it happen, I'm like, oh, it looks like Space Marines. Oh, it's Primaris. Okay. But then, yes, it is Titus, folks.
Yeah.
Titus is back. Got the chain on his arm. He's a Primaris now.
Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, I can't wait to see what happened between him literally killing a demon prince and getting arrested by the Inquisition.
Yeah. To now, all of a sudden, he's crossed the Rubicon and he's back.
Yeah. And he pulls what we call a pro gamer move when he's fighting the tyranny warrior. Blocks him, shooting the knee. I was like, oh, yes. Oh, yes. And then they show the little snippets of gameplay.
Yep.
Yes, we're going to have Smash Titus back. Yes, you're going to be hacking through waves and waves of Tyranids. And it just looks gorgeous. I am so stoked.
Yeah, this is going to be just... If they can capture even part of the feels of the old game, it'll be a huge hit.
Well, the graphical upgrades that we saw already.
Man,
I mean, it's been 10 years, but
yeah,
it looks like it's going to have probably some smoother flow to the combat.
Yeah.
But still, harken back. God, just the level of detail in that trailer
it's. Ooh. But, again, I think you're going to need a reasonably high-end video card. So I don't think your laptop's going to run that. So
unless you have one of those really nice gaming laptops.
Well, sure. Yeah. Okay. Shall we jump into creation? Because it's been a month and I created and it looks like you created. So let's create.
Yeah. Created quite a bit. You want to start, Bill?
Okay. I can do that.
Build me an army worthy of Mordor.
All right, so I took that brief interlude just to mention that I may or may not be looking quite hard at my Lord of the Rings stuff. Well, it was Thanksgiving. I had a lot of time on my hands doing nothing. And so naturally the Lord of the Rings trilogy got played.
Of course.
And, with all the new things that are coming up for Middle-earth or Lord of the Rings strategy battle game, I started re-looking at that and then instantly having that buyer's remorse about not buying the Rohan, set, the army box. Oh, well, these things go by. But yeah, I'm seriously thinking about looking into building some stuff for that system and playing a few games just to see how it works.
Looks fun.
It really does. And the groups that support the strategy battle game, the Lord of the Rings game, are just so super helpful. And I put up a post about kind of here's what I'm looking at and want to do, because I figure you have to make a good and an evil army. So, what should I, and just the amount of really good feedback was astounding. So anyway, moving on. What I really did a lot of that was not AOS at all or 40K. I have plowed through 58 of the 96 Marvel Crisis Protocol models, painted and ready to go. And I have sort of made a promise to myself that I am going to get the models that I have done before I pick up anything else. Just because I want to actually say I completed something. For me, my creation was painting a lot of Marvel Crisis Protocol, a ton of it.
You got quite a few more boxes over there than when I last saw. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Cobalt Keep had a really nice sale for Black Friday, something Cyber Monday or what have you. So I picked up another set of 4. I need to buy another set of 4. Because those are really great boxes for displaying models and keeping the dust off them. The lids snap onto them. So if you're looking for army display boxes that aren't huge and are infinitely better than the stuff you can get at Hobby Lobby and what have you, for just doing shelf displays.
Yeah.
It's called cobaltkeep.com. The boxes have the clear lid. You can put a backdrop into them. The really nice part about them is they already have a metal plate on the bottom.
Oh.
So if your models are magnetized, they can become sort of a halfway transport method too. So yeah, very, very handy.
I love it.
Yep. So a lot of Marvel Crisis Protocol. Well, actually, why don't you talk about the models you did, and then I want to do a little bit of hobby-focused, hobby-minute stuff.
All right, let me pull out my checklist real quick.
Yeah, let's start out with the elephant in the room. GW says you're the most famous of painters.
What are you talking about?
I saw the post. You're up there on the website.
Oh, I was. Yeah, back when they were featuring different painters, both me and my wife were able to get on the website. I did Magnus and my wife's unfinished Mortarion. He was really close. He just didn't have his wings on. We're both like previously featured. This was like 2018. Yep. There used to be a time when they would just cycle through and show, people were doing in the community through Instagram. It was a really fun little campaign. Saw a lot of great painters up there. And I think it was sort of like hey guys, you don't have to be a pro painter to make something look great.
Yeah.
So I certainly wasn't a pro painter, though. Pretty proud of that Magnus.
Yeah.
I loved painting that model. And there's some other people who like painting Magnus as well. A little sculpting on it too. Stay tuned for After Dark.
I was going to say, yeah, it'll be in the After Dark. Please.
We're getting demonetized, Josh.
Yeah. I'm right there with PewDiePie. Okay.
That was a pretty fun time. I mean, I mostly just followed a painting tutorial for the wings and then just winged the rest of it.
You did a lot of detail painting on that, so
yeah,
that thing looks
super
really
fun.
good.
Super fun model. But what I've done in recent time.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So I painted 20 Hormigons. I painted 20 Gene Stealers. I painted a Tyrannifex. I painted a Flyrant. I painted a Broodlord. I painted a Neurothrope. I painted 23 Skitari, mostly Rangers.
Wow.
Getting my AdMech, up to snuff.
Yeah.
I also started playing Marvel Crisis Protocol.
Yay!
So I'm working on Midnight Suns, so I got Blade, Moon Knight, I've got Iron Fist, I also got Luke Cage. I got Black Cat, Ghost Rider, also Amazing Spider-Man. I've painted Moon Knight, Blade, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist. Black Cat's up next.
Nice.
I don't know why I'm just not finishing up Ghost Rider. I'm mostly using contrast and various methods like that. Because it's done. It's so quick. Like Iron Fist took me 30 minutes and he looks decent.
Yeah.
I love it.
Of all those models that I did, I think Dormammu and Spider-Gwen are the only ones that I really didn't go contrast with. They needed actual paint jobs. Oh, and Corvus Glaive and Proxima Midnight, but only because that black has to be right. It can't be, the Black Templar doesn't look right for them.
Speak for yourself, Bill. No. Yeah, no, I found the contrast works really well. I was pleasantly surprised when I was working it on Blade's jacket. Yeah. I thought it looked really good on there. I'm going to see what it does for Ghost Rider. I think it'll work out pretty nice. So, yeah, painted 4 of those models. Then, so for next year, new Army, New Year stuff, there's all kinds of things that are going to be happening at the shop. So for 40K, I'm working on my NIDS, right?
Yep.
This very beautiful pink and blue paint scheme, if I do say so myself. But I was like, well, I need to do AOS as well.
Yep.
So I'm going back to Nurgle. Hey, look, we're here.
Huh.
Look at that.
Amazing how things circle around.
But if you haven't seen it, just take a second and just Google the Great Clean One. And
you had to go there.
I did. And there have been a lot of reactions to it. Very mixed reactions.
I was going to say some positive.
I'm just going to let you all see it. I'm not going to describe it to you if you haven't seen it. Just go see
you
it.
have to experience it for yourself.
But then I was thinking, well, I really like the idea of painting Nurgle demons with just normal human flesh tones.
Yeah.
And I did a test run on a Plague Bearer. Oh boy. It's so unsettling for some people. Like my wife won't look at them all.
Right.
She won't.
It's such a jarring difference from what you're used to, but I think it looks great. I think it's awesome.
It's so interesting. You see Nurgle and like it's strangely beautiful with all the greens and stuff, and it just seems to work together. But then you change it from green to flesh toned, and people are like, "That's disgusting. I don't want to look at it."
Yeah,
I'm like, "Oh, okay. So this is what Nurgle's supposed to be."
Yeah.
But yeah, instead of like all the boils and stuff on the skin, well, I painted some of them as pimples.
Sure.
Painted some of them as moles. And, even though I'd like worked up the sort of standard GW flesh tones, from Bugman's Glow up to like Kislev / Flayed One Flesh.
Yep.
I used a little bit of Plague Bear Flesh contrast paint in the armpits and the underparts, I guess we could call them.
Yeah.
The real question is am I going to break down and get some like dark, like static grass type stuff to add a little body hair?
Oh, no. You will depart the realm of sanity at that point.
I mean, at the very least, I want to like glue it on their necks.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think more than one time there will be judges called over to your table. I shouldn't have to play against that. Oh my Lord. I tell you, I love the look of that model. I think it's so jarring, and yet that's what you kind of want. It should evoke a response, and some people are going to probably hate it.
Yeah.
They're going to be like, no, that's not right.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, it's not wrong either. Sorry.
My wife asked me no less than 3 times yesterday, like, are you really doing this?
Yeah.
And then at one point she asked me like, so where are you going to store this? In the car? I was
Oh,
like,
wow.
She's like, I'm not going to look at those.
Wow. You're going to have the first like completely opaque display box.
Well, yeah, then it's not a display box. It's just a
It's
tool
cardboard,
chest, right?
Yeah.
No, I think that when we think of Nurgle and how disgusting it's supposed to be, and like particularly reading the lore, both 40K and, AOS, it's disgusting. Like it's truly revolting, but like all this strange beauty and stuff like that people see in it.
Yeah.
It's like, let me just flex my artistic capabilities and see if I can't make something that puts people off.
Yeah.
Maybe in a big way.
I think it works personally. I really think it works. So
We'll see what you think when I put body hair on it. So.
that might turn the vote to ew.
It looks great. Wait, what is that? Oh,
You didn't. No, you didn't. Oh, yes, he did.
Oh, let's just say I'm going to go to Slice and Dice after this.
There you go.
Yeah, I think that concludes the almost 100 models that I've painted.
Jesus, that's
together.
Awesome. So a couple of little hobby things I want to cover real quick. And this is something that I've been running into, and I'm seeing some other people say the same thing about contrast paints, and especially the contrast primers being a little hydrophobic in that, when you put contrast paints on them, they tend to ball up and maybe not cover the way you think it looks like it's falling off.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's not a problem with the primer. Although if your primer is too thick, that will happen, but that'll happen with any primer. But that not being the case, contrast paints are really, really susceptible to water, even water on your brush. So if you're seeing a lot of that, if it's balling up on you, or if it just doesn't seem to want to stick to the model, take your brush, wash it off, dry the hell out of it, and then try again. And it will probably work a lot better.
Yep.
The other thing too is, of course, with contrast paints, you got to shake the hell out of them.
Mm-hmm.
You have to shake them like crazy. Same thing with the primers. These primers are designed to go on a lot smoother coat-wise. They're almost like the Stynylrez and Vallejo surface primers that you shoot through an airbrush, in that they dry so smooth and they self-level so much. But if you use too much, or if you don't shake the living hell out of that can, you're going to run into issues. So just be aware of that. Just make sure your brushes are dry. Make sure you've really taken the time to prep the model well. Another thing about contrast paints that I have been doing with the Crisis Protocol stuff is mixing them to make new shades is so much fun and easy.
Oh, yeah.
And, when you look at like Doctor Strange, his version of blue is much, much different from, say, Spider-Man's.
Yeah.
And yet you can achieve the same thing with just, the Talisar blue and a little bit of Apothecary white. And now you have the Doctor Strange blue. So, yeah, just don't be afraid to mix those. They mix together really, really well. Of course, keep in mind that the darker contrast paints are way darker than you think when you mix them.
Yeah.
And so always start with your lighter color and then mix a drop of the darker into the lighter. I did want to make a shout out to Darcy Bono, and I think you should look at this video.
Okay.
She has a new video out for making flesh bases for your Nurgle models.
Ooh.
Yeah. And it's diseased flesh. It's bloody, gory flesh. And it's horrifying. And I think you might like it.
Okay. Yeah. I'm going to take a look at it.
Definitely. Yeah. I think that might be a base you want to look into for your Nurgle stuff, because I think it'll work.
Yeah. I've been wondering about the base for him, like if I go full neckbeard route, was I going to make tiny little like manga and leave them on the ground, some empty ramen containers? Or was I going to go and try to do like grass and stuff, that bright sort of almost like contrast to it. So it looks like strange, misformed man babies walking through a field, which is just so horrifying.
Yeah, it should be like a bright, happy base.
Yeah.
So that the disparity just hits you in the face.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, completely. And the whole army, like the droning, when you get close enough to it, it's just, well, actually.
Yeah, well, actually. Oh, God. Okay, let's move on to games.
All right.
And sort of battle. I just want to throw a shout out to Hero Quest that came out. So if you pre-ordered the Hero Quest from Hasbro, you should have gotten it by now. And it was worth the wait. Man, is it a beautiful set. Holy crap.
That's what I'm hearing.
It's just gorgeous. Haven't had a chance to actually play it yet because, obviously we spent 10 days with just me and the wife in the house, and 2-player Hero Quest is about as exciting as, not. So we did get a bunch of MCP played, though. Played a bunch of games. Want to throw a shout out to the guys over at 5th Trooper for the Stormtide boxes. We've hit the second quarter now. The 4th box has come out, and this is where they said they were going to pretty much depart from the Star Wars IP so that they could do their own, this is their narrative campaign. This is a narrative in a new place, and they didn't want to have to be running into, we have to dance very carefully around what we're creating.
Yeah.
Because it's Disney IP, and you know how that works.
Yeah.
So now they're starting off their own thing, and they have a set of 40 Resin Monsters. So with box 4, you get cards and all this stuff for all the monsters that you're going to run into.
Okay.
They also released, if you wanted to buy the set of Resin Monsters, oh my God, they knocked this stuff out of the park.
Yeah?
Holy crap. If you're into Legion and you're into narrative and you're not doing Stormtide, you are, luckily there's still the first 3 boxes available. Uh-huh. You can buy on the website and you can catch up. What they're doing is just absolutely amazing. It's awesome.
Yeah.
More power to them. So that's what I've been doing. I've been playing a lot of MCP, both on Tabletop Simulator and, in real life. And in fact, today, Pam and I are going to play Guardians versus Web Warriors, I think. So.
Oh, that should be a fun one.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
So on my side of things, I've only played a couple like tabletop games. So Troy and I were doing sort of trying to ramp up some Blood Bowl stuff.
Yeah.
At the shop, and we were doing like demonstrations, and we had a fun little game. We only played one half, but we were trying to teach one of the new kids, like one of Wendy's kids, to play the game, and he was playing the orcs. Troy was playing the Bogenhofen Barons. Yeah. It was like a fun little game. I gotta say, I love that it's a dice game, because some stuff happened in that game that just like statistically should not have. And it was amazing.
Yes.
Right. So, we were walking the kid through the game, and he found out, like, oh, my troll can throw players. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he has a goblin recover the ball, get to the troll, and the troll like long bombs him down the field. Oh, God. Right. So, we roll scatter, and it actually pushes it closer to the end zone.
Oh gosh, that's awesome.
but he rolls a 1 on the throw, so it's a garbage throw.
Oh, Jesus. Oh,
They're
no.
like, oh no, what's going to happen to this poor guy? So roll to land. We got a 6.
Oh, gosh.
So the goblin, who was just hucked in the air all haphazardly, just lands flat-footed like, huh?
Yeah, I got this.
Right? And then, because Troy was playing the other side, he's like, well, I got to try and get the ball back. So he rushes and goes to blitz, and just that character falls on their ass and causes a turnover.
Oh, God.
And so I was like, all right, so this is a chance for me to get my black orc up there and, try and take that guy out of the game so that way he doesn't, just handle my guy. And whiff, falls on his head.
Oh, God.
And then Troy's blitzes, so gets back up and tries to swing at the goblin again. Fumbles again, causes the turnover. Goblin runs to the end zone. And so it was just like this really funny, like the dice were just like taking it every which direction. It was like this goblin was destined to run that ball.
He was going to get there.
Yeah. It was just so flippin' funny.
There's a reason Blood Bowl has the following it does.
Yeah.
It's just a crazy fun game.
And, like Necromunda too, right? Yeah. So I'm trying to get all kinds of folks into Necromunda because Ed's been running the campaign. Played a game against Derek where it was my orcs, parentheses, Goliaths.
Yeah.
Close friends, against his corpse grinder. And apparently he's been a scourge to the other players because I hadn't played him until that one. Because he was like kind of min-maxing in Necromunda, which is like, quit being a jerk. You know? So he was spamming flamers, like hand flamers, normal flamers.
Yeah.
And going into that game, he had, it's all based on credits, but let's just say 400 points more than me, right? I had 1,000, he had 1,400, right? So what's the benefit I get? I literally only get 6 tactics cards. It's like, so let me get this straight. You've got 3 flamers, a butcher, you have the 2 of the cutters,
Good Lord, yeah.
and you have just a whole smattering of little dudes with boning swords, which are ridiculous, right? It's like, well, I guess I'm going to have to be at the top of my game. Now, what's funny for the orcs is that since I just used the commandos for it, I literally built my gang based on the equipment that they had on the models I had painted.
Right.
So, which did mean I did have the rocket launcher.
Oh, nice.
And the flamer.
Yes.
Which just won me that game. So
nice.
He's like, yeah, just go ahead and roll up the map. And I was like, all right, it's a, kill mission. He's like, yes, my favorite one, because he's been like murdering dudes, right? And like one of the players was just like so like just distraught afterwards because all of his characters were dead after fighting against Derek. And I was like, all right, well, let's see what I can do here. Because this rocket launcher is 48-inch range, which is bigger than the board.
Yeah.
With a 24-inch short. I was like, okay, so then I roll the next scenario, and it's this ambush scenario where one of the players is in the center, right? Or at least one character is in the center, and then some of the others can be spread out depending. So since I was the one who, quote, picked it by rolling, I was the attacker.
Oh,
and
nice.
What you do is you split your models into 2 units or 2 groups, and you pick one that's in the very center of the board. And then the other half, you roll for each model to see if they're either set up within 2 inches of that, or if you can deploy them as normal. And he had like infiltrate keywords and stuff, and I was like, the problem is, man, is that like I know you have that, but there's like shall language in here and stuff, and I was like, based on this, you have to set up based on this, right? It's not like, oh, I'm just going to infiltrate anyway.
Yeah.
That's not how this works. So he ended up, unfortunately, deploying everyone in the center of the board. So turn 1, I just rocket launcher with a 5-inch blast temple. Boom. Didn't kill anyone, but knocked everyone away.
Sure.
Right? And so it was like a slow grind. I ended up losing 3 models, like talking about a dice game, right? Yeah. My knob, right? My leader charged one of the basic little dudes and literally whiffed on everything. Oh, no. He had no minuses to hit. He's super strong. Like, I just needed one to get through.
Yeah.
And then he boning sword me and killed me. And I was like, God. Jesus.
That's not right.
Not at all. So then I just systematically picked apart his gang, and he ended up bottling.
Nice.
And It's like, all right, well, let me do the check for this one. She runs away. Crap. Let me do a check for my cutter. He runs away. All right, I'm going to just bottle my whole team. I was like, oh, come on. You don't want me to kill you?
Yeah, come on.
But he was like, seriously, started with 10 models to my 7.
Jesus.
With 3 flamers that he, and I love how you can't pre-measure things.
Yes.
So he moved a model up and he's like, I'm going to try and flamer this, like what your flamer, because I had him positioned a certain place. He miscalculated and his flame template was like almost an inch shy.
Just a bit
I was
outside.
like, oops, that sucks. All right, anyway, I'm going to shoot her. So that was a fun game. Then I've been playing some Vigi games. I just got the Spider-Man game from a couple of years ago.
Oh.
I just been hesitant to get it because I was like, I don't know, man, if I really want to play another like Arkham clone, you know?
Yeah.
But it's so fun so far. Like,
cool.
Just running around doing stuff like getting backpacks. It's fun.
Yeah.
Play anything else? No, that was it. Haven't had a chance to play Marvel Crisis Protocol, but I watched it played.
Well, we're going to have to fix that soon.
Oh, like very
shortly.
Very soon.
Yeah.
So that was the thing. Is like, it was kind of a meme amongst us, you know, where Clayton got Anders one of the boxes, right?
Yeah.
He got a Magneto and Toad. And I was like, oh, it's on, because I'm going to make Anders play this game. So for his birthday, I got him Mystique and Beast and Sabretooth and Wolverine.
Nice.
And he's like, I hate you guys.
I got him Black Cat.
You did?
Yeah, I did.
Because he just loves Black Cat.
Yep.
And then he sits down and plays with Ed, you know, at the little Thanksgiving get together. And when he was able to take was it the tower for the power lines with Magneto, crumple it up and throw it at Beast, he was like, I am going to lose a lot of money on this game.
Nothing better. I love to hear. Oh,
I got him the apartment building for Christmas.
Nice. Very
So
nice.
He's in like Flynn. He was like, dude, this is awesome. So what do I do next? Do I go for, you know, Murdoch and his law office, or do I do Jody's diner, you know? And I was like, maybe wait till the Sentinel terrain comes out, because that's looking sick.
I did one apartment complex as just the apartment complex. And then I have this one over here that I'm doing as the not obvious villain stronghold. I am desperately waiting for my graffiti to come in. So I ordered a bunch of graffiti decals and it hasn't got here yet. So I'm like,
Are you not going to freehand it, Bill?
no.
You got an airbrush. Come on, let's see it.
My mad skills.
Bill was here.
Yeah. I will say one thing, though. I did a dirty thing. I did buy the Squidmar Harder and Steenbeck Evolution, the CR 2-in-1.
Oh.
Which, funny story, when I went ahead and checked out, they charged me the 19% European VAT tax, which European company, blah, 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 they have to charge VAT. So you just have to understand that as part of the cost of buying from over there. Yesterday, I got this email that said, hey, we charged you the 19% VAT. And we just found out that because you're an overseas, you're a U.S. customer, we actually didn't have to charge you the VAT. So we're going to go ahead and refund that. I was like, wow, that's cool. I would never have questioned it. They didn't have to do that, but that was very cool of them to do.
I don't know, maybe they did have to do that.
Well, they probably did.
Because if they found out, you could be like, hey, where's my money?
Yeah.
And then you caused an international incident like you do.
Sure. As one does.
As one does, yeah.
I was talking to Troy about it, and how I just swear by the Harder and Steenbeck airbrushes now. I just love them to pieces, and it's pretty much all I use. And he was like, well, I like this, I like that. And then he came around and he was like, could I maybe borrow that Evolution? And I was like, sure. Hey, no problem. Here, run by the house. I'll box it up for you. I sent it to him. He texted me the other night. This thing is so awesome. Yeah. So I think I may have spent some of his money. So,
You sold him.
I did. I hope. So let's take a quick break and then we'll jump into the Magakin and Nurgle.
Sounds great.
Okay, we've had some cookies. Let's jump into Nurgle.
Let's do it.
With both feet and some buboes and some pustules. And wow, this book has there's some serious very polarized opinions on how good this book is going to be overall.
It really is. And I like it because there's a conversation here.
Yeah.
Because I think there's so many things here that are either going to be amazing or not. There's definitely some middle of the road kind of things. Very few. But there's like things that without consistent play testing, we're not going to really know just how powerful or weak a certain mechanic might be and how the points are going to work. So this is going to come down to our initial impressions. This is just, us without the book, without having play tested, any of that. It's just...
This is an initial look. We will do a deep dive.
And for that, we'll be inviting Kai, who we mentioned before, to join us because he and both Bill and I have been playing Nurgle since almost came out.
Since the version, since it started.
I should say I started playing in 2.0, but same with Kai. But anyway, that'll be our thrice full befoulment episode.
Yep.
So get ready for that stinker.
Yes, there will be another Nurgle episode, once we have the book in our hands and a game or two down. Because a lot of this stuff, they've changed the basic mechanic of this army, and they've changed the overall way this army plays. I saw somebody post yesterday that their current list went from 2,000 points to 2,700 points.
Yeah.
So you have to look at Nurgle in a different way. You're not going to play the list you're playing right now, most likely.
And I know that there's some folks who would like a call back to that. There's some things we all love about Nurgle, right? But this is a completely different book. So build from the ground up. There are some homages to certain things, such as the Thrice Full Befoulment Battalion.
Yeah.
But this is ground up. It's different. You need to think of it differently.
And they took Nurgle back to the way Nurgle should be. We were talking about this when we first got together this morning, and we were just chatting. It was really weird to play the 2.0 version of Nurgle, which is supposed to be the slowest, ponderously advancing army, that in actuality, in real gameplay, was one of the faster armies in AOS.
Oh, yeah.
They have tripled, quadrupled, quintupled down on the fact that Nurgle is slow in this edition. But that's not a huge detriment because of the way you're going to have to play them differently. So throw out your old list. Just what you knew about Nurgle, throw it away.
Yeah. Except for discussing resilience.
Yeah. I mean, even that's markedly different. So
markedly better.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes.
Discussing resilience is not just a ward save anymore. We'll get to that in a minute.
Right.
And so I think, as we talked about, but we want to sort of like go through the points to put things into context here.
Yeah. This is the pustule in the room. This is...
Yeah.
The points changes are where 99% of the controversy comes from.
Yeah, it's a little sore you want to keep scratching at. We're going to make all these jokes all day, folks.
Yeah, get used to it.
So there's some folks who definitely, thankfully, went through and just calculated the points changes.
Yeah.
So I think let's just go through them all and then make commentary afterwards.
Sure. So
there's one thing on here that's on the actual point list that we don't have here. We'll go over that later. I'm talking about the Rotbringer Rot Coven.
Okay, yeah.
Which is a really interesting point of conversation. But anyway, so starting off, Beast of Nurgle, now 110 points. It's down 15.
Yep.
Bloab Rot Spawn is 300 points, so he's up 70. We're going to talk about how that's not a bad thing. Epidemius, Tallyman of Nurgles, down 35 to 145.
What the hell?
I don't know how often we'll see him. He's like an interesting tech piece, but
he's amazeballs. Good Lord. Okay.
I'm going to take Festus over him. Anyway, Fecula, Flybone, and the Worm Spat are up 65 points to 255.
It's because they're Blight Kings.
Yeah.
And they're boss.
Two Blight Kings and a boss, right?
Yeah.
Who is a Rotbringer Sorcerer.
Yeah.
So I think it matches the points.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Festus, Leech Lord, 150, so he's up 10. Dear God, he's so good now. Great Unclean One. Ooh. Grab on. It's up 145 points to 495 points. Bill's got a face that he's going to make his thoughts known later.
Anyway.
Gut Rot Spume up 25 to 170.
Yeah.
Harbinger of Decay down 5 points.
Wow.
To 140. Horticulous Slimux, and one of the only two to survive the points.
Yeah.
No points. Gone up or down. He is 225.
And can win you a battle tactic.
Yes. Yes.
Or a grand strategy.
Grand
excuse
strategy.
me. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll talk about that later
Yep.
too. Lord of Afflictions up 30 points to 210. Understandable. Lord of Blights up 15 points to 150. Lord of Plagues up 10 points to 145. Morbidex Twiceborn up 85 points to 320.
Jesus.
Nurglings are up 15 points to 105. Orgoth's Demon Spew, the man himself, up 80 points to 300.
Cheap at twice the price.
Yeah. He's amazing. Plague Drones up 5 points. I know.
Oh, somebody stop me.
Somebody stop. 200 points total. Plague Bearers up 40 points for very good reason.
What? Battle line units going up 40 points? That is... Oh, wait. No, they're really good.
They're cheap at 150.
Good God.
Like they are, I think, objectively better than Gut Rippers.
They are now 2 wound, disease spreading. Oh, my God. Just try to move me off a point.
Right? They are just native -1 to hit.
Yeah. Hello.
Yeah. Oh, they've got a 6-up save. So what? They got the 5-up after.
They got a
2
5-up
wounds.
ward. Come back on a 1.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. And then with Fleshy Abundance making them 3 wounds each.
Jesus Christmas.
So happy for that. Poxbringer, Herald of Nurgle, up 10 points to 145.
Still won't see a table.
I mean, he might.
He might. He could. He's got a very good tech ability.
Yeah.
So he could, you could use him.
He also sneaks in as a caster, right?
True. Very true, yes.
So if you want to have just like I said earlier, the Fleshy Abundance, just to have him keep backing a group of Nurglings, not Nurglings, Plague Bearers alongside Spoilpox and Sloppity.
Yep.
Puscoil Blight Lords up 35 points to 220. I think that's right in line with the amount of wounds they have, being a 2-model unit that can flex up to even 6, honestly, but usually 4 if you want to go spicy.
4. Yep.
But that's a lot of wounds to chew through. Everything. Well, we'll talk about why everything's up in a second. Blight Kings up 85 points to 250. I'm sure
That is absolute. Oh wait.
Rotbringer Sorcerer up 25 points to 145. Rodigus, same issue with the Great Unclean one. He's up 150 to 495.
Interestingly, Rodigus costs the same as a Great Unclean one. And Rodigus, he definitely brings something completely different to the table.
Yep.
So interesting that they're the same.
I agree. More on that at 9. Sloppity Bile Piper stayed at 130. And Spoilpox down 5 points to 120. And
oh God,
the largest point increase in the book.
This is it. This is why I quit. I quit GW. Okay.
Lock-in is up 305 points to 700 points.
Dear God.
I feel like it's a meme because they wanted it to be 7, right?
Yes. Oh God.
When I saw that, I was like, why not just make it 777 if you're going to do that? That way it is the full meme. It's all the 7s and it's 3 because Nurgle likes 3s and 7s. Anyway, one thing that's not on this list because it didn't exist before is the Rot Coven.
Yes.
Which is something we found out. It can only be taken in a Filthbringers, which is one of the sub-factions.
One of the subs.
These units must be taken as a set referred to as a Rot Coven. Although taken as a set, each is a separate unit.
Yep.
It is 360 points for 3 Rotbringer Sorcerers, which, frankly, if you want to be casting, that is one of the best ways to make spells happen.
It is the mortal replacement to Thricefold Befoulment. And it works really, really well. And it gives you, again, I'm going to harp on this again. This book gives you options. It takes away a lot of what you're used to in Nurgle. It's gone. It's completely abolished. But there's so many new doors to open. There's so many new things to find. Yeah. So many scabs to pick at. You know? I'm sorry. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. Oh, and speaking of news at 9, news at 11, late breaking. This just in from GW. No pre-orders next week.
All right.
Yep. It's a Sunday preview. Celebrate a well-earned festive break with Warhammer. And next week's pre-orders are, nothing. So
that's good. Give your pocketbook a rest.
Spend your money on your friends and family instead of yourself.
Or have your friends and family spend their money on. Anyway.
Hopefully they've already done it because the way GW ships, you're not going to see it till February anyway.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
Stay tuned for After Dark.
All right, so let's get to battle traits.
So, and let's do a quick overview of why all these huge point increases, where at the same time, the army got nerfed into oblivion from the current edition. There's a reason why. So what you end up with is Disgustingly Resilient applies across the board now. No bubbles to worry about, no craziness. Everything went down in speed, but a lot of things went up in wounds, along with Disgusting Resilient and an honest to God ward save. It kind of makes sense.
Yep.
Summoning kind of was cleaned up quite a bit, but not any major changes to that. But the disease mechanic. Let's cover the elephant in the room, because this is what you're paying for with all these cost increases.
Whoa. Disgusting Resilient isn't just disgustingly resilient, though.
No, it's not.
This is a major... I think this is why it goes to the points increase.
Yes.
Because it's 5 up across the board, but at the start of your hero phase, you heal 1 wound from all friendly Maggotkin of Nurgle models.
Models.
Not units.
Not units.
Models.
So if you have 2 Puscoils with a wound on them, guess what?
They each heal
They
1.
each get 1.
So think of it, look at if someone does a lot of mortals, right? When you receive mortals, assuming you have no other wounds on your models, you can distribute the mortals.
That's right.
Right? So you distribute them across the board, and then you come to your turn, boom.
Yeah.
You heal 1 off of every model. So that just goes to show kind of a preview of how this army is going to be working. It's a very think ahead,
Yes.
think 2 turns ahead kind of thing. And so that combined with this disease mechanic is what I think is a major reason why it went up in points.
Sure. And, a lot of it was internal balance to make every unit in the book have a place.
Yep.
And again, this is another book, another Battletome that comes out where every unit in this book has a place in some army somewhere. There's no unit that I can see in this book that is, like I made the joke about the Herald of Nurgle. Nobody's going to take him. No, that's not true.
Yep.
Every model has a place in some army somewhere. It just depends on what you want to build and what you want to, double, triple, quadruple down on. So it's truly a flexible book. And if you are comparing it to versions in the past, I think you're doing yourself a disservice, and you're probably just going to get angry.
Yep.
Because nothing good comes of comparing it to what came before. Because this army now plays like a Nurgle army should, lore-wise. And the mechanic works. So the big, like we were saying, we were getting at, the big thing is the disease mechanic. And the way it is right now, an enemy unit at the end of the movement phase and the combat phase gains 1 disease point for being within 3 inches of a Maggotkin of Nurgle keyworded unit. So that's every unit, every enemy unit gains a disease point at the end of movement and at the end of combat just for being within 3 inches of a Maggotkin of Nurgle unit. That's 2 opportunities per turn to gain a disease counter, and in a lot of cases, a unmodified hit of 6 with your diseased weapons also causes a disease point to an enemy unit. Then there's a ton of spells and command abilities that give out disease points like they're candy, because they are. A unit can have a maximum of 7 disease counters, points, whatever you want to, however you end up tracking them. And I know you were mentioning earlier that some Etsy dude had better get cracking on making a 0 to 7 counter so that we can buy them from him to put on every enemy unit that we run across.
Oh, yes. Yes, please.
So, yeah, I'm still thinking about maybe this afternoon doing something on my 3D printer.
Just let me know if you do, Bill.
Yeah, I mean, because we need them desperately.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so now you have units with all these disease counters, points, whatever. What does that mean? Well, at the start of the Battle Shock phase, you roll a die for each disease counter a unit has. On a 4 up, that unit takes a mortal wound. Say what? Yeah, that's what you heard me right. You can have a maximum of 7. So you could have a unit of 2 with 7 counters on it. You roll 7 dice. For each 4 up, they take a mortal wound. That's 50-50 for those of you that are confused about how many sides are on a 6-sided dice.
Yeah.
And then you reduce that unit's disease down to 1. So you take all the excess and you leave them with 1 disease. So it doesn't go away.
No.
They're just not as bad.
And one thing to think about too, and it took me a while to figure this out, but there is like one ability that the Plague Bearers have. I think it's in the Magnificent Wanderers, where they count as 2 units for the purposes of disease tokens, right? It seems like it's each Nurgle unit within 3 inches of a unit puts a disease counter on them.
Yes.
And so if you're swarming, I've got 2 units of 3 Nurglings that are ganging up on this unit. Each one counts for purposes of adding a disease token.
Yeah.
So that means you accelerate it even faster.
Yes.
Right?
You
So,
are spreading disease through the enemy's ranks, and it's awesome.
raw maths, you're looking at, let's assume that a unit survives for 5 turns of having 7 disease counters every turn. You're going to be doing, mathematically, 35 mortal wounds.
Jesus. It's ridiculous. This is the mechanic that this army is built on.
Yeah.
And maximizing the use of this mechanic is what's going to win you or cost you the games.
Yes.
So armies that can stay away from you and cannot engage, big time shooting armies. Yeah. So you'll have issues with them. The problem is everybody has issues with them. So you're not, I mean, this isn't like Nurgle's going to die just because there's Lumineth out there. Yeah, no, not the case. This is a great mechanic. It's going to be a lot of fun to see how it plays in game. And my biggest fear right now is in the mirror match, Nurgle versus Nurgle. The game will either never end or it will end turn 3 because everybody's dead.
Yes.
So it's going to be funny to watch. I really do want to do a Nurgle versus Nurgle just to see how that mechanic works.
Oh, Lord.
Because it specifically says enemy units, and it does not say anything about if you're not mark of, Nurgle or keyword Nurgle or anything like that. So in the mirror match, you're giving the other guy different diseases than he's giving out.
Yeah.
So, grandfather loves all. He shares. So,
But Nurgle, in a way, like you should expect that if you're playing as Nurgle or against Nurgle, that the game is going to go all 5 rounds.
yeah.
Because it is like, unless you somehow pull something out or there's real bad dice rolls, they're just going to survive.
Yes.
And it's going to be a grind fest.
With across the board 5-up ward save. That's hard to chew through. So literally that's 1/3 of the hits are going away.
Yeah.
And aren't going to be affected. Aren't going to affect Nurgle units, as well as Nurgle units still have the ability to come back on a 1. So, and of course, disgustingly resilient, like you mentioned, at the start of the hero phase, you heal 1 wound from every unit or every model.
Every model.
William, get with it.
But then you have the Locus of Fecundity. So there are particular individuals who do give out the Locus of Fecundity. You have the Great Unclean One, Horticulus, Glockin, and Festus, where if you're within 14 inches, you heal D3
wounds.
Yeah.
Oh my, and does that count for each one that you're within 14 of?
Yes.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. So all of a sudden, Thricefold Befoulment, which costs 1,500 points base, technically healing up to 9 wounds per turn just because they're within 14 inches of each other. Yeah, okay.
I didn't see that. I'm going to have to reread that.
Mm-hmm.
That's how Locus reads, huh?
I believe so, unless I completely missed it on the slide.
I thought it was instead of 1, you do D3.
Right. That's what I was given to understand as well. It's
But
rather than
you wouldn't heal more than D3.
Right.
Because you only heal once per turn. And so it'd be D3 instead of 1.
Right, but if you're near 2 other units that have Locus of Fecundity, you're going to heal 3d3. So the Thricefold Befoulment.
So I think I watched the Facehammer on this, right? Not this particular part, but just the whole review. And there's some things that need clearing up, that need FAQing. This might be one of them, just to clarify. There's a couple of to get into, like whether CP means contagion points or command points.
Yeah, there's a couple of things that need to be addressed.
And then what is it? The Beast of Nurgle can still mortals on a 6, right?
Yeah.
And so it's a question of, does that trigger the disease weapon still? Kind of a situation.
Yeah, there's a couple little things they have to clarify. And it's really not that bad. There are a couple of questions. Always are. There'll be a fact.
But Locus of Fecundity, no matter what, means they're always within 14 inches of themselves.
Yep.
So they're always healing D3. So your Great Unclean One is always healing his D3 or her. D3.
Yep, and it's a D3. It's swingy,
Yeah.
but, you can kind of figure the average is going to be 2-ish, although technically speaking, a D3, there is no average. Each one has exactly the same chance. Yeah, those are the big army-wide abilities. We also have Summoning, which has been cleaned up.
Yeah.
Incredibly. No more of this D3+1 if the following set of circumstances applies. You're wearing green socks. You have 2 of these. You have no. Right now, you get contagion points for summoning. You get 3 if you have units in your territory, 3 if you have units in enemy territory. You get +1 for those individual territories if there are no enemy units in there.
Yep. You also get +1 for each Feculent Gnarlmaw.
Right, and another one for the Feculent Gnarlmaws. And then there are command abilities, and there are units that can also generate contagion points. And then there's a table in the book that shows you what you can buy with all your happy contagion points. And it's your typical, make sure you have an extra unit of Plague Bearers, make sure you have a couple of Plague Drones, make sure you have Nurglings, a Beast of Nurgle, and, if you just happen to have a lot of money, have an extra Great Unclean One, because for 30 points, you can buy a Great Unclean One.
Yeah, so it looks like, generally speaking, you're probably going to get 6 or 7
Per turn, yeah.
for the first turn.
Yep.
If you deep strike some Nurglings, you could be netting 9+ per turn. So it's not terrible. The summoning tree is interesting. Plague Bearers are 14 points.
Yeah, but
per
they're
10.
very good.
Yes.
So you don't want to see them coming in at 7 points. That would be a unit every turn.
How ridiculous would that be?
Yeah, that would be stupid. So luckily they did not do that.
20 wounds per turn on the board with a 5-up ward.
Yeah,
Are you
good
kidding
night.
me?
Goodbye.
Jesus.
So
Jesus. All right, anyway. Yeah, it's cleaned. What, Feculent Gnarlmaws are 7 still, if I'm not mistaken?
yeah, you can toss out a new tree for 7. And trees are great because it's a Magakin of Nurgle unit, so they spread poison just like every other unit, as well as they generate you contagion points.
Yeah.
So good little piece of terrain to have. They need to get it fact so that you can set it up anywhere on the board rather than in your territory.
Even though it's clearly intended to be able to put it anywhere else.
Since there's an actual grand stratagem that calls for putting one in the enemy territory, you pretty much know what they mean. However, as specifically written, you can't do that right now.
And if you're the guy who rules as written would say,
Who calls that?
yeah, who calls that?
Yeah,
You can catch these hands.
I'm telling
Right?
you.
I'm telling you right now.
Go play a different game.
Yeah.
Okay, because you're not having fun here.
Right?
So that was the big army-wide battle traits, and you can see why the points went up between Disgusting Resilience and Disease. Disgusting Resilience means a 5-up ward for every unit on the board just because it's there, as well as the ability to heal 1 wound every turn.
Yep.
That's huge. That makes you very, very resilient. So the math hammer was done. A unit of Plague Bearers is now 13% more survivable than they were in the old rules with their old 5-up save. So yeah, they went down to a 6-up save, but they also have a 5-up ward as well as healing. So yeah, across the board, 13% more resilient.
Not to mention the coming back on 1s, man.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Beauty.
And that's D6 models. And then you just babysit, a big brick of Plague Bearers with an Emerald Life Swarm.
Yeah. And as well as a couple of the characters, and you just make them it's a battle line unit that can be a Vegematic as well as will not be shifted off of any objective.
Oh, yeah.
So you can see where the points went.
Yeah, you can. You can. Now, one thing that was a shock to me, and I think a couple others, that the cycle of corruption didn't completely go away.
No.
It was completely changed.
It was brilliantly changed.
Yes, I love it. So just go through these in turn. So Unnatural Vitality, if you get that, heroes get a 4+ ward.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll take that all day. Right?
Yeah.
That's a great turn.
And the new mechanic for this is, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, you start on number 1, and then it advances by 1 each turn.
No, you roll a dice.
You do roll a die to see where you start?
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's only 6 options.
Right.
There's the one at the top that's always active, which is the +1 CP for
Corrupted Regrowth.
Yeah. So you always get that, but you roll a dice, and that's the one you start on, and it ticks forward.
Yeah.
Right.
And then it ticks forward each turn. Then you can manipulate that.
I mean, if I could start with a 1 every time, I would, because that stops the alpha.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Ooh. 4+ ward on all your heroes. Ridiculous. Used to be +2 move.
Yep.
Fecund Vigor, all models are considered to be within 14 inches of the locus, which means that one of your turns, everything heals D3.
Yeah.
Hey, corrupted regrowth.
Yeah.
That's changed, right? So
Yeah. That's all models are considered within 4. So everybody heals D3.
yeah, every model heals D3.
Yeah. Suck it, Alariel.
Was used to be +1 to wound, which is still really good. But anyway, burgeoning, you roll a number of dice equal to the battle round. For every 4+, you get 1 CP. What does that mean?
And there's 2 camps right now arguing about this. Is it a contagion point? Which, if you ask me, it's burgeoning. The name is burgeoning. I would think it would be a contagion point.
Yes.
But it could also, they use just CP. So it could be command point, which is also very good. So,
So I would approach it this way. Maybe this is me just being too much of a lawyer, but whenever I see an abbreviation, I refer back to the most recent, recent term that was abbreviated
usage
to
of
that.
it. Yeah.
And my understanding in the book is that contagion points is defined as CP, right? In the Nurgle book.
Right.
Which means that when you see CP, it's not a colloquial thing. It's internally referring to contagion points, parens, CP, close parens, right? Because I don't think command points figures as CP in that book. CPs are just what we call command points, right? And I think it very clearly says command points later on, like on War Scrolls.
Yeah.
So
That's kind of where I came at it too.
Yeah.
However, I can see the argument that says it could be a command point.
Yeah.
And it's a 1-line fact change. It's not a big deal. Not a big deal.
Yeah, the fact change will be like, refer to After Dark for Josh's thoughts on this.
This timestamp.
All right, Plague of Misery. Heroes without the Nurgle keyword cannot carry out heroic actions or issue the rally/inspiring presence command.
Wait, say what?
Yeah.
Say that again.
I love
Heroes without the Nurgle keyword cannot carry out heroic actions or issue rally and inspiring presence. Oh my God.
it. Yeah.
Talk about gutting an enemy army for a turn.
Yeah.
I love it. I freaking love it. That lasts a turn. That's a whole turn.
Yeah.
No rally, no inspiring presence. They will take battle shock.
Yeah.
Those super cool Stormcast. Yeah. Say goodbye.
No heroic actions. Jeez. For an entire turn. And that's going to be the thing. It's going to shift to that part on the cycle of corruption. And someone's like, for my heroic action, you do nothing.
No, you don't.
Oh, unless it's the mirror match, in which case, ooh.
You know what a hero looks like? A hero looks like nothing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, nothing. Anyway, Rampant Disease. Nauseous Revulsion. Yeah. -1 enemy charge rolls. Non-Nurgle cannot finish a pile-in closer to a Nurgle unit than it was before.
What's the application of that? How could that possibly be of any use?
I know. Who thought that stopping pile-ins would be any good?
Oh my God. Yeah, just so when you're surrounded by all those snake ladies and they're trying to get in there and do their little sortie thing to you. Yeah, no. Sorry, ladies.
That's one of the things about Nurgles. They just hold you in place.
Yeah. This is an amazingly good tar pit kind of thing. My initial thought on this was the giants that try to, pile in, sliding down the enemy line. Yeah, you just turn that off. You can actually tar pit a giant with plague bearers really effectively.
Sir, where are you going?
Yeah.
Sir.
Clean up aisle 2.
And then Rampant Disease. I love this. You add 1 to the disease rolls when you're seeing if you get mortals. So it makes it a 3+.
Okay.
Yeah.
That could be really deadly at the right time. I mean, you get that turn 1, that sucks.
Yeah, it does.
You get that turn 2, 3, or, I would say turn 3, turn 4. That could be devastating.
Yeah.
Absolutely devastating.
Yeah, turn 3, it's probably going to be brutal.
Yeah, where the big mix has started and there's a lot of disease out there.
Well, the sheer amount of damage increase from that, Oh, Lord. Going from 50% to 67%.
Huge. Yeah. So basically 1 in 3, or, sorry.
Like that turn can win you the game.
Yeah. That is a game-changing turn right there.
Just boom.
Yep.
Dear
Ugh.
God.
God almighty. So good. So good. And, again, you're paying the points per unit for these abilities.
Yeah.
Now, you do not have, like in versions past, you had the ability to just basically you were going to cast a spell once a turn to put this wherever you want to. That is kind of, it's not that free form anymore. You're going to have to plan ahead. You're going to have to look at it more like Ideneth Deepkin and the Tides, Daughters of Cain and the, Yeah, you still have a method of advancing it.
Command ability, right?
Yeah.
But it's push it forward by
It's
one.
forward.
It's not like
It's not set it to where you want.
Yeah.
So, which
Set
is
it and forget it.
it's good because if you could do that, that would be very, very swingy. And in some games, you're going to be off by a turn on all of these, and it's really going to make you mad.
Yeah.
On other games, it's going to be just perfect, and you're going to go down that list and just go, "Oh, this is so good."
It's just thinking about where you'd want this to start and how it can move forward. Because I feel like, if you're up against an alpha list, you want to start on 1.
I want to start on 1. Yeah.
Because you want 2 after that, because that's going to heal the crap out of everything, right? Then maybe you can bump it forward to Plague of Misery, skipping Burgeoning if you're not really looking to do the summon.
Yep.
Because it's contagion points. I don't care what you say.
And command points.
And get to Plague of Misery where you're just locking down their heroes, right? Yep. And then, in the 5th battle round, they can't charge well, and then they're stuck in place, and then you blow them up with mortal wounds, right?
Right. Yeah.
In the 5th.
Yeah, it's a beautiful cycle. It's Nurgle's gift. He's so good.
Yes.
He's so good to us. Oh, thank you, Father Nurgle. Okay.
Now, after that, we have the Plague Legions. These are all meh.
Yeah.
Except for Drowned Men's pretty good.
And again, these are the things, they took away the super pluses from them, but there's also really no detraction for having these. Don't think we need to cover them. Like you said, the Drowned Men does give you a pregame. You can move a Lord of Afflictions or Puscoil Blightlord units up to 8 inches, which is pretty amazing considering their move is so bad.
Their move's 8 inches.
Yeah.
So they can move 16 inches in the first turn. Yeah. So, I mean, they're not, dragons, but
no,
that doesn't mean they can't get into the dragons, which would be really funny. I want to see the Puscoil versus the dragon match. I want to see it so badly.
Oh, it's crazy. One other big call out here is the Munificent Wanderers, where your Plague Bearer hosts that have 10 or more models. If they're within 3 inches of an enemy unit, they cause 2 disease points instead of 1.
Jeez, if they did 3.
So yeah, you can pretty much
Holy crap.
max out disease points with the Munificent Wanderers. So if you're leaning hard into the disease mechanic, that's probably what you want to get. All the rest are just they're there.
The Filth Bringers is the one you need in order to get the Rot Coven.
Yes,
right, and that is your super casty. Sub-faction.
It's your summoning. It's your casting. You're gonna lean into that when you wanna go that route. And I to me, it looks like a ton of fun.
Oh yeah,
and I am kicking myself for ordering 1 of the sorcerers because I should have ordered 3.
What you could do is custom the other ones.
I still have my other, my other 2, or actually I have 3. So I will use them until I get the new models.
There's I just have like so many extra like Blight Kings. Like I have 20 Blight Kings, which I don't think I'm going to ever run more than 1,000 points of Blight Kings. So I think I'm good on Blight Kings. I think I want more Puscoil Blightlords because I only have 4 total, right? Which is 440 points. So I wouldn't mind having, 660 points.
Sure.
Right? To play around with, but a whole army of them would be kind of fun too. Anyway.
Yeah, there's a really neat, interesting build with Blightlords.
I'm really lucky because my wife who's such an amazing painter, loves painting Puscoil Blightlords.
Damn you.
For some reason, she's just like, I'm just going to paint this one. She loves it. She loves it. Thank God. Keep painting, babe. I'm just going to be over here painting my Great Unclean One like a fat guy with moles and all kinds of sores everywhere. Anyway.
So going on to grand strategies.
Yes.
These are kind of interesting. Again, you have to pick one of these with your army list.
Uh-huh.
If you don't know that by now, Wow. Okay. The first one is Corrupt Arcane Nexus. At the end of the battle, you need to have a wizard within 3 inches of the center of the battlefield and no enemy unit within 6 inches of the center of the battlefield. Calls into all of these visions of the different scenarios that have a preponderance towards a scrum in the center. That one might be difficult to achieve.
Oh, yeah.
When you look at all the different abilities you have of white, and we're only talking about 6 inches. We're not talking about, a huge distance. We're talking about a pie plate here. So 12 inches around the center. It's doable, but you're going to have to work at that one. You're going to have to go hard into the disease with that one, I think.
And I think the reason why they did that is made it the 6 inches is because they didn't want you to just be able to park a Great Unclean one directly over the center. Yeah, and his base size is just so much that you can't
get anything with it.
So
they had to make it 6.
You know what? I'm not taking that because there's the just have a wizard alive.
Yeah, there's some other really good ones too. There's Tend the Garden, which is at battle end, no enemy units within 3 inches of a Feculent Gnarlmaw, and there's a Feculent Gnarlmaw wholly within the enemy territory. So basically, you're defending your Gnarlmaws.
Yeah.
I don't see that one being used all that much. That's swingy, and it's real easy for them to get the last turn and just swing in and cost it.
Just stomp it.
Oh, here's a good one. Spread Rampant Disease. At battle end, every enemy unit has at least 1 disease point. And let me just tell you flat out, if you go last, you win. You win that one. Yeah. So, period.
Unless they run something off in the corner and can heal it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they would have to do a lot of work to deny you the 3 points on that. Or, hear me out, don't kill your opponent because then you can't win.
Oh, my God. Wow. Didn't think of that.
I mean, I guess if there are no enemy units, then you don't need to have disease. I don't know. That might need an FAQ.
Yeah.
Right? Do you score it if there are no enemy units on the battlefield?
Okay.
Right?
I'll leave that for the fact.
Yeah. Blessed Desecration, Mortal General only. Pick 1 terrain feature within enemy territory. Control at the end of the battle.
Super doable there, I think.
I think so too.
There is a caveat there that makes me a little nervous that says if there is no enemy terrain, if there is no terrain feature wholly within enemy territory, then you can pick any terrain feature. Ooh.
Then that would be the easiest grand stratagem.
I would say change that to be any terrain feature not in your deployment area. It's just me being a lawyer.
But I'm just saying, you still can win that anytime because Nurgling's Deep Trick.
Yeah. There's some good grand strategies, and you'll be able to do any of them, really.
I think it's so funny. Sorry to take a break from this, but like, there's so much in this game where it's going to be, oh crap, I forgot about the Nurglings. Like, you need to like go back and kill the Nurglings because this 105-point harassment unit that's just playing around on top of a rock and your back line is winning the game.
Is actually winning for you. Yeah. Yeah. It's just so messed up. Oh, God.
I love Nurgling so much.
It's awesome. All right, so then we go into the battle tactics. These are the per round things. A lot of these are interesting. First one is Feed the Maggots. If 7 models were slain by disease this turn, that's definitely not a first turn pick.
No.
But that, as you're starting to look into turns probably 3 and 4, that one looks like it could be very, very doable, very achievable.
Yeah.
You have Nurture the Gnarlmaws. You pick 1 Feculent Gnarlmaw with models that has models within 12 inches. And you get this battle tactic if there are no models within 12 inches at the end of the turn.
And that's enemy models.
And enemy models.
Yeah.
Sorry, I should have specified.
Yeah, because it's essentially like kill them so they get away from your Gnarlmaw, right?
Yeah.
Which is really actually narrative. That's really narrative.
Yeah, and this is a weird one, and it'll be real situational. Like if he sneaks a unit close to your deployment zone and you have a Gnarlmaw back there, you might be able to just pick this one up on the cheap. But again, I think that would be the one I probably don't pick that often.
It's one, though, that in certain situations you can completely control.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if there's like a unit, you're like, yeah, I'm totally like mathematically, I'm going to wipe them off the board, like no matter what.
Yeah.
I'm going to send my 5 Blight Kings in. They should kill them. If they don't, the disease will take them.
Yeah.
Right. Not a bad choice. Not a bad choice.
And yeah, it becomes easier, if you have Horticulus who can just throw Gnarlmaws down, you can pick and choose how to do that one. So it's doable, but it's weird.
I think you can only poop one though, right?
You only poop one per game, yeah.
Yep. Then Gifts to Nurgle, all units on the board at the start of the turn inflict 1 disease point. All of your units.
Yes.
Yeah. So
if all units that you started with at the beginning of the turn inflict a disease point, so you basically have to be stuck in. You can't have some wizard hanging off in the corner.
Well, that second, third turn scrum in the middle.
Yeah.
Like if you can get all your units in there and you're not playing KG with some Nurglings, you're probably good.
Yeah, you're probably going to do that one.
Glory to the Grandfather. More enemy units destroyed than friendly units.
I think that's in everyone.
I think you can do that.
Yeah.
You mean you have to pick the right turn for it.
Sure.
Right? The droning. I love this. Rotfly mount in each table quarter.
You have to have gone in big on the Rotflies.
Yeah.
The Blight Lore, the Plusquills.
Or the Plague Drones.
Or the Plague Drones. So yeah. I mean, it's completely doable, and if you're going in on that one should be an easy one for you to get. So that could be the gimme turn or the first turn if you're doing Plague Drones right. So Sudden Domination, to me, this one's a joke. You have to summon a Great Unclean One and have it within 3 inches of an objective in the opponent's territory. So if you're going all in on the summoning and your plan is to bring in a Great Unclean One on turn 3 or 4, I question your life choices. But also, that should probably be doable. So if that's your shtick, that will be an easy one to get.
Yeah.
If that's your army build. If it's not your army build, forget it. You ain't doing that one.
Yep. So those are the battle tactics. Now, Core Battalions, Bill, I think this one's yours.
So, yeah, they called me and they said, would you be mad if we didn't put your Thrice Full Befoulment in the book? And I said, yeah. So they did.
Yeah.
So for the low price of 1,500 points worth of Great Unclean Ones, you can get the Magnificent thing. Basically it's a callback to the old book.
Hey, to be fair, it's actually 1,485 points.
Okay, very good point.
Yeah. So
and
that makes it playable, right?
Don't for a moment think that I am not going to run that list, because I will, and I will have fun. It will be, 3 Great Unclean Ones, 3. Now I can only do 2 units of Blight Kings and a unit of Plague Bearers.
No, I don't think you can, because Blight Kings are 250 each, so you can't get Plague Bearers for 15 points. So you'd have to run 3 units of Plague Bearers.
Yeah, 3 Plague Bearers, huh?
And then you put them in Hunters of the Heartland.
Yep.
And then take an Emerald Life Swarm, maybe.
Yep.
And then now you're talking about playing the summoning game, Bill.
Oh my God, I'm loving this game. God Almighty. Oh my
But also
Lord.
it's so Nurgle too, because you have 3 Great Unclean Ones, 3 units
3
of Plague Bearers.
Yeah.
And then you have an Emerald Life Swarm, so you have 7 models in the army.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh.
And think about how easy that is to transport.
Right? Mm-hmm. I mean, you only have some big old Great Unclean Ones. But
Yeah, but I mean, still, it's one tray of a battle foam thing, so.
Easy peasy.
And then you have the Rotbringer 6, which is the mortal drop. So if you want to do a 1 drop, you're going to take 1 to 3 mortal leaders and 3 to 6 mortal units.
And to be clear, it is the on foot, so less than 10 wounds, so
Right.
you will not be able to use the Magath Lords for that.
Correct. So, but if you're leaning hard into the mortals, that one's probably super easy to put in there, and you get the 1 drop.
I'm thinking that's your Rock Coven one.
Yeah.
Right? The Filth Bringers?
Yep.
I think that's a good one for that one.
Yep.
Oh, technically, you can take the Lord of Afflictions with his bugs,
True.
because he's under 10 wounds.
Yes.
So you could even have a
He's
1-drop
8,
fly
right?
army. What?
He's 8 wounds, right?
8 wounds.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah?
So there you go.
I'm here for it.
So yeah, a lot of usefulness there. So, and that's in addition to the book, the core book battalions. So you don't feel like this is all you can do. Now we're gonna hit some units. We're not gonna hit every unit in the book.
No,
that would be boring as sin. But we are going to cover some of the big changes as a broad overview. When it comes to units, almost everything had their movement reduced. So
by 1 inch.
Yeah, Nurgle plays Nurgle now. They're plodding along at 4 inches and running potentially 6. Yeah, and we were talking about this. Running isn't the handicap for Nurgle that it is for some other armies, because just by running, you're probably going to get in range to throw some diseases out there. So even though you can't charge and fight, guess what? You're spreading disease anyway.
Nurgle wants to be stuck in.
Yes.
And so if your opponent charges you, great. Hey, that's exactly what I wanted you to do.
You betcha.
You came at me. Thanks, bro.
Yeah. Come at me, bro. Can I talk to you about this pustule I have? So anyway, let's start off with the grand old fella himself, Rodigus.
Yeah.
He went up to 20 wounds.
Not bad.
No, down to a 4-inch move. His attacks changed around a little bit. He went up. All the Great Unclean ones went up to 15 Nurgling attacks on their rung of the ladder.
Yeah.
That's where their chip damage is going to come in. It's Nurgling attacks. They're 5s and 5s, and no rend. But there's 15 of them. You're going to roll 15 dice.
Yeah.
So, hello.
I think his staff went up in damage too.
Yes.
So he's kind of beady in combat. Like,
Yes.
if you have him on the board and he runs up, he will smack someone in the face because he's got the Mounds of Loathsome Flesh, which
Betcha.
is a replacement effect for your monstrous action. On a 2+, you do mortal wounds equal to what it says on the chart. And I think him and the Great Unclean ones do 3 mortals.
Yeah.
Glotkin does 4
Yep.
for the same thing. So he's no slouch in combat if you can get him up the board.
Yeah. It's going to be a thing. You're going to have to understand that this army plays slow now.
Yes.
We kind of didn't go through command traits and spells.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So before we get into units, maybe we should go. I don't know why. I just skipped right over them. I apologize. That was poor planning on my part.
Jeez, Bill.
I suck at this. Good.
I'm going to have to talk to your supervisor.
I would. So command traits, going back now to mortals. Okay, the mortal command traits. First one, Grandfather's Blessing. Once per game, move the Cycle of Corruption forward or back 1 space.
I like it.
Okay, so there's your manipulation, but it's not put it where you want and change it. Next up is Infernal Conduit. In your hero phase, roll a die, 2 to 5, gain 1 contagion. On a 6, gain D3 contagion. Here they spelled out contagion.
Yeah.
They didn't say CP. That's why I think it's command points. I'm just trying to be the naysayer, that's all. You know me. Okay, next up is Living Plague. In your hero phase, roll a die for each enemy unit within 7 inches. On a 2-up, they get 1 disease marker.
Not bad.
Yeah, just helping spread disease. Avalanche of Rotten Flesh. After the hero makes a charge roll dice equal to the charge roll. Each 6 does a mortal wound and 1 disease.
I dig it.
Ow. Freaking impact hits. Thank you. Next up is Bloated with Corruption. Ward rolls of 6 inflicted disease on the attacker.
I like it.
Just a little bit of mirror reflecting stuff. And then the last command trait for mortals is Overwhelming Stench. This is huge. Enemies within 7 inches cannot issue or receive commands.
Oh.
So, hey, elite units that are off on your own, sorry.
Hey, Stormcast Dragons.
Yeah. Whoopsie.
My Lord of Afflictions got in, and you can't kill him, and you can't... Oh, crap.
Ossiarch Bone Reapers. Oh. Didn't your life just turn to poopy?
Right.
Okay. So, in the theme of nerfing demons and bumping up the mortals here for Nurgle,
Oh, yeah.
the command traits for the demons suck. Gift of Febrile Frenzy, once per battle. All Maggotkin units within 7 gain 1 attack. Not bad, but not great.
It's all Maggotkin, not demons, right?
Right.
I think with the distributing it to all Maggotkin, it's a little better than when I first looked at it, because I thought it was just demons for some reason. Yeah, that's not bad.
No, it's not terrible. Next up is Nurgling Infestation. -1 to hit rolls to target the general. Units of Nurglings within 7 inches get +1 to hit. So again, doubling down on your Nurglings.
If you're doing the Nurgling, twice born list, maybe.
Yeah. And then last command trait for demons, Pestilent Breath. In your shooting phase, pick a unit within 7 inches. Roll a die for each model within 7 inches of that unit. Each 5-up deals a mortal wound to the unit. It's chippy little mortal wounds. But again, this is an army that works on chip damage.
Yeah.
So chipping is fun. Okay, mortal artifacts. This is where it gets really, really dumb, and why you want to run a mortal army. So, Eye of Nurgle, once per battle in your hero phase, if there are enemy units within 14 inches with a disease counter, roll 2d6. On a 7, the nearest enemy model unit is slain.
That's such a...
E?
The moon needs to be waxing, not waning. You know, like, there's just so much in that. Yes. That I just can't. I can't. It's fun. It could have a narrative flair to it. And it's like, if you do the psychographic profiles, you know, if you're a Timmy, you want that to go off. So you're playing every game you can until you have that one game that you can tell everyone for the rest of eternity
that you slew
that I killed
model.
Arcane
With the Eye of Nurgle.
The Eye of Nurgle, right?
Yeah.
I have Ed Sheeran now.
Yeah. I love it.
Grandfather's watching.
Yes. Boy, isn't he ever, though. Next up, Mortal Artifact, Fetid Shroud. In the combat phase, pick a hero that is not an enemy monster. Subtract 1 for hit rolls by that hero and add 1 to hit rolls targeting that hero. So your typical, I think we've seen this in every book. It's debuff the hero.
So many hero monsters now. Like that just does nothing against Gargants.
Yep.
Right? So you're just like nulling yourself out.
Yeah. Oh, well. Shield of Growths. The bearer can reroll saves if the roll is equal to or less than the number of wounds allocated to it. This is kind of confusing, but basically you can reroll your save if the roll that you made is equal to or less than the number of wounds you already have on you. So it's kind of a cheeky reroll if you're already beat up pretty bad.
Well, how I read it, and this is how they did on Facehammer, was that like whatever the damage is done to you, so like say 6 damage is done to you, then you can reroll 6 or belows.
Right.
Right? Not like, as in the incoming damage, not wounds remaining.
Right. No, it's wounds allocated to it.
Yeah. So then, you know, if you have 2 wounds allocated to you and you roll a 1 or a 2, you can reroll.
Yeah.
Right? Which, frankly, that's really good against those like massive attacks, you know, where someone comes in like, 10 wounds. And you're like, thank God.
Woohoo! Boom.
Looks like you failed 4.
Yeah.
No.
Thank you.
Plus, like, again, Lord of Afflictions is sitting at a 3-up save.
Yeah.
So you can get him down to a 2-up save with save stacking. Oh my God, man. Like, that Lord of Afflictions is going to be doing the work, man.
He's going to be hauling some mail.
He's probably going to be my go-to general.
Go-to guy. Yeah. Next artifact, Flesh Peeler. In your hero phase, roll a die for each enemy unit within 7 inches. On a 4-up, they get a disease token, so you're just spreading more disease.
Yeah.
Okay, next up is the Split Horn Helm. Bearer has a 4-up ward. Okay, remember, Rodigus can't take that. Not only he's not a mortal, but...
He's also named.
He's named, so, but almost everybody else can. So, wow.
I mean, yeah, if you're mortal, that and the, like, damage done reroll.
Yeah.
Is so good.
Yeah.
Right? It's a tough take between those two. I think you get more out of the 4-up save.
I think overall you're going to get more out of the 4-up. I really do.
Particularly on the Lord of Afflictions because you can save stack him so well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you go with that.
Bounce things up.
That plus the 6s bounce mortals back and you just get them in the scrum with, you know, a whole bunch of
you want them in there. Yep. The Fecund Flask, once per battle in your hero phase, roll a die. On a 2-up, heal all wounds. Wow. Nice. However, on a 1, the bearer is slain.
Yeah, that's a no for me, dog. The payoff is, I don't think it's worth it, you know?
Yeah, no.
Like I see like niche situations where it's like, well, my guy's going to die this turn unless I roll this, but I'd rather him die in combat. You know, trying to take something down.
Yep.
So, you know, there's some interesting stuff in there. I think the big ones are the reroll saves and the 4-up discussing resilience.
Yeah.
Just sort of harkening back, like the best items and the best abilities are the things that make you more survivable.
Yeah, for sure.
Though there is one mortal spell we'll get to that's so
oh my God. It's so stupidly good. Last 2 mortals for mortal artifacts. Mudgrub, the bearer becomes a wizard and knows the Gifted Disease spell. If you're already a wizard, you gain +1 to cast Gifted Disease.
Yeah.
More to come here in a minute. Rustfang, once per battle. An enemy hero within 3 inches is -1 to save for the rest of the game.
Yeah, that one's definitely if you can get a guy up the board quick to get like, almost suicide at a hero, right?
Yeah, he's got a YOLO.
Yeah.
Yeah.
YOLO, so you can Rust Fang and then like let the rest of your stuff come in and handle it.
Yeah.
You know?
So the demon artifact, Bountiful Swarm, long stuff. You basically turn stuff into a Beast of Nurgle. Once per battle in your hero phase, pick an enemy model within 3 inches, roll a die. If the roll is higher than the model's wound characteristic, it is slain. If it had a wounds characteristic of 4 or more, it becomes a Beast of Nurgle. If you would waste this on a single... Now, I mean, you're not going to take it.
No.
Basically, if you waste it on a 1 wound model, you're either doing it because that's the last thing you need to clear off the center of the board or something, or you're trying to turn a character into a Beast of Nurgle. Waste.
Why?
Yeah, exactly.
Why?
Why? Endless Gift. The bearer always heals D3 from disgustingly resilient. That's not bad.
No.
That's built-in heals.
That's good.
Yeah. The Noxious Nexus count as 2 units instead of 1 for the diseased battle trait. So, okay.
Yeah.
Whatever. Nurgle's Nail. Choose a melee weapon. Inflicts a disease on a 5-up instead of a 6-up. If you're tripling down on disease. But again, if you're playing team... Anyway. Tome of 1,000 Boxes. The bearer becomes a wizard. Knows Gift of Disease. Blah, 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 blah. Witherstave. Enemy units within 7 inches add 1 to their disease rolls. Auto take.
Yeah.
Auto take. Again, going from 50% to 66 or 67.5%. I'll take it. Spell lores.
Wait. Does that mean that stacks with that one Cycle of Corruption turn? So you can 2-up disease?
2-up disease? Oh God, I don't know.
All right,
Oh
well,
my God.
we're gonna have to work on that, folks. Sorry.
Oh my God. Can you imagine a 2-up? Oh, 7 rolls, 2-up mortal wounds. Oh God. So if you wonder why you're paying a higher price, this is why we can't have nice things. Okay?
A great unclean one walking up with a Witherstave. They do so much damage. And then being able to pop off that one. Okay. Anyway, we'll talk more about that when we can get the playtesting in after FAQs.
And
we're going to need FAQs.
Yeah.
You know, and
there's a few things that have to be cleaned up. It's not horrible, but we need some clarifications.
Yeah.
We've been at it for an hour. Let's take a quick break. We'll go into spells. All right. We're back with mortal spells. Spells for the mortal wizards. Oh, these are so good. My God. Magnificent Buboes, casting value of 7. Enemy unit within 21 inches gets -1 to hit. Okay.
Huh.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
It's 21 inches, so a lot of times you're looking at maybe that if you get the top turn, you might be able to turn off some of that Alpha Strike, shooting mechanic. Next up is Plague Squall, casting value of 5. Roll 7 dice. Each roll of 6 inflicts 1 disease. Meh. If you're doubling down on the disease, you have a spare wizard, take it.
Yeah.
It could become really cool. Coiling Quagmire, casting value of 5. Choose an enemy unit within 14 inches, roll a die. If the roll is greater than the enemy's save characteristics, then have the movement characteristic, and the unit is -2 to run and charge until your next hero phase.
Hey, you with that really nice armor save.
Yeah, that really big, bulky Stormcast unit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why don't you just sit around there?
Yeah. It's on theme with Quagmire wearing heavy armor. You sink in, you can't move as fast.
Getting pulled into the muck.
Yeah.
Next up is everyone's favorite Blades of Putrefaction. I have never been able to say that. Casting value 7. A friendly Maggotkin unit within 14 inches inflicts disease on enemy units on a hit roll of 5 or 6. So basically it takes the diseased weapon roll of 6 and makes it 5 or 6.
Yeah.
Pretty good when you're in the middle of when the big scrum is happening.
Yeah.
It's going to be handy to have that. Next up, Gifts of Disease. Casting value is 6. Inflict 1 disease on an enemy unit within 21 inches and 1 disease to each other enemy unit within 7 inches of that unit.
See, it's so much better than the Squall.
Yeah.
Right? It's like target a point, explode disease counters. Yeah.
I love it. Yeah. And when they're all bunched up, oh gosh.
Yeah. I'm here for that one.
Last up is probably the one nobody's ever going to take because, why? But it's called Rancid Visitations. Casting value of 6. Pick an enemy unit within 7 inches, so it's very short range, and roll a die for each model in that unit within 7 inches of the caster. So there's a caveat there. On a 2-up mortal wound.
Yeah,
my
it's garbage.
God.
Yeah, it's garbage.
Yeah. Wow, is that good? That is a horde buster.
You need a tanky mortal hero to do it, so probably Bloab.
Yeah.
I think Bloab can get in there and just start molesting people.
Yeah. You are seriously going to put a hurt on someone with that little...
You could do a Lord of Afflictions with an Arcane Tome. Run him up there and have him just splatting on people.
Wow. That's mean.
Yeah.
I like it. So the demon spells, only 3, just like before. Favorite boxes, casting value of 7. Pick an enemy unit within 14. A unit is -1 to hit, wound, and save until the caster moves, attacks, attempts to cast, or unbind, or is slain. So basically you have to dedicate, it's a channeled spell.
Yeah.
That wizard is out of the game until you decide. But the flip side of it is the enemy unit, whole unit, is -1 to hit, wound, and save. So I can see a use for that, like going up against a giant or an Arcane or something where getting that -1 to hit or to wound is big.
Yeah.
You know, because it's going to prevent auto slay or some silliness. So yeah, that could be definitely, but you are dedicating a wizard to it and you have to protect that wizard. So
Just making a great and clean one.
who knew? Fleshy Abundance, casting value of 7. Add 3 to the wounds characteristic of a friendly unit until...
At 1. I was like, whoa, Bill.
At 3? Oh my God, Blade Bearers are good.
And then Nurgle was broken.
And Bill broke Nurgle. Jerk. Add 1 to the wound characteristic of a friendly unit until your next hero phase. Yeah, that's pretty good. That is actually
that's pretty good.
Yeah, that could be so. Yeah, you're making that last ditch attempt to take that objective from me. It's not going to work though.
Well, it's so good in the if your opponent gets the double or you give them the double.
Yeah.
So you're sitting there like, all right, yeah. Now it's 30 plague bearers, so it's 90 wounds.
Yeah.
Right. They get their turn, then they get their turn again, and they still have to chew through 90 flippin' wounds of plague bearers.
And there is a designer note on this spell that says basically when the spell ends, the unit could die because it has wounds in excess of its normal allotment. So these are temporary hit points. And last but not least is Stream of Corruption, casting value of 6. Pick an enemy unit within 7 inches. Roll a die for each model within 7 inches of the caster. Each roll of 5 up inflicts a mortal wound. So
Just strictly worse.
way worse. The only thing this has going for it, you can extend the range to 14 inches, but then the mortal wounds are only happen on a 6. So again, they don't like demons in this book. So there's something, they hate demons.
To be fair, what separates AOS from 40K is their mortals.
Yeah.
Just like in 40K, Death Guard is its own thing.
Yep.
And they really do a lot to make Death Guard viable by themselves.
Yes.
Right? As opposed to reliant on the demons. So
Yep.
from a design perspective, I can understand it.
Yeah.
I still think, I wouldn't be too disappointed if, Great Unclean Ones were 425. I think that's probably more fair.
I want to play test it. I really do. And I will take my Thricefold Befoulment just to see how flat out pure demons works.
And it could be that you just can't kill them.
It could be, that they don't react to your advances.
Yeah.
And they just do their chip damage until you go away.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we'll have to see. I don't want to make any, snap judgments without playing a few games because honestly, that's how you make yourself look like an idiot. Okay, now we'll get into units. And what we said about Rodigus before applies now.
Yes. Copy, paste.
Yes, exactly.
Great and Clean One went up just 2 wounds
Yep.
to 18. Still significant.
Yep.
With the 5-up ward save, they're functionally on 24 wounds, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's great.
And their ability to heal because they're their own locus.
Yeah.
So they're going to be pulling back a minimum 3 wounds or up to 3 wounds per turn. So...
Well, and another thing to keep in mind too, now that I think about it, their brackets are different now.
Yes.
It's 0 to 6, 7 to 12, 13 to 16,
13.
17 plus, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so it's bracketed in a way to where they don't bracket as quickly.
Right.
Which is real annoying.
Yeah, that 2 wound and then they dropped was terrible.
Their spit attack is great.
Yeah.
All of their profiles went up in damage.
Yeah.
They don't degrade as much.
They still have Mountains of Loathsome Flesh. They have their spells. They have 15 Nurgling attacks, just like Rodigus. Yeah. So they will be doing a lot of chip damage. And remember, all those 15... Well, do they have poison weapons? Yeah, they have poison weapons.
Everything has disease weapons.
All those 6s are more disease points. Yep. So you're looking at potential more mortal wounds, even from regular old no-rend attacks.
Yeah, and on that note, because I know we didn't put it on the list, but like a pack of 3 Nurglings is 15 attacks.
Yeah.
Which is a good amount of just disease counters
Yep.
for 105 points.
Yeah.
Like if you're not taking 1 to 2 units of Nurglings, you either don't have the points because you're playing Thricefold, or you know, you're just kind of doing yourself a disservice because they're deep striking.
Yeah. I mean,
they don't have that stupid, if it's 1 damage, then you get disgusting resilience. No, they have disgusting resilience, period. They heal back up to full wounds if you don't kill a base. Sorry, that's my rant on Nurglings. I think they're amazing.
They are. They're really good. Epidemus, his tally count is now different. You basically roll a dice for units on the board now, and his ability to do things, the things that he can do now are to increase your ward rolls, which is really, really nice, and reroll, cast, and unbind. Having the ability to reroll that ward save is really big, especially like if you have a big guy that has the 4-up on him. Being able to reroll that gives you just that little bit more resilience.
Yeah.
So Epidemus, yeah, he's still that iffy. He's cool, but
But Festus, oh god, Festus with his spell where if he gets it off,
I didn't even put him on here because I know we're going to talk about him.
Yeah, he's just too good. Because the problem with him before is he didn't have a built-in ward save. He has a 5-up save normally.
Yep.
Right, but his whole I'm going to point at someone, and they get -1 to their save for the rest of the battle.
Yeah, who knew?
Yeah, you can only do it once per unit, but it's his spell. Like, you just got to walk around, you get -1, and he's Oprah. He's he's handing out -1s like crazy.
Yeah.
Right? He might even be a good vehicle for the Rust Fang, too, unless you want to yellow something in. Because, he's going to be a major target for shooting.
You betcha.
You have to hide him good if you don't want him to just die.
Again, he's going to be one of those pieces where he's so good, he's almost going to be a distraction piece. Mm-hmm. He's going to be that distraction Carnifex, where if they don't pay any attention to him and they let him go, he's going to have an impact the entire game. Whereas if they spend a turn knocking him down, because it's going to take more than just 1 unit of shooting to take him down. Every time they're shooting at him, they're not shooting at somebody else that you need to be doing something on the board. So he is a win-win.
Yeah.
Flat out win-win.
So you have Rust Fang, you have him. Is there anything else that gives -1 to save? Aside from Rend? Oh, the channeled spell.
Oh, yeah.
So you have 3 independent sources. He can't take the Rust Fang. He's named. Thank goodness I remember that. Yeah. But 3 independent sources of -1 to save.
Yep.
Without it being Rend.
Yeah.
That is absurd.
Yeah. He's gonna make his money in a list.
Yeah. Get Festus. If you don't, get him. Or
get him.
Kit bash him.
Yeah. Make him. You can do this. We believe in you.
Especially because, even though he's fine cast, he's still probably one of the better fine cast sculpts they've had. I love him.
Yeah.
But I think a custom job would be pretty cool.
Yeah, I think he screams for a custom model. I've seen a couple on the Reddit pages. So just the quick, elephant in the room, Plague Bearers went up to 2 wounds. Yay. They dropped to a 6-up save. Oh. But they have 2 wounds. They return on 1s if they have a standard bearer. And they get a Cloud of Flies for their -1 for anything over 5.
Yeah.
And that's huge because Cloud of Flies used to be one of those things that the minute you lost a model, it was gone.
Yeah.
So now it's a thing, and they're awesome. Horticulus Slimex, he went up to 10 wounds, down to a 4-inch move, 4-up save. So all these are bad things, but he does make a normal once per game. And of course, he is a 10 wound, so he's a top tier leader. And yeah, he's got all that going for him.
He had to have 10 wounds, though, so he can't be lookout surd.
No, he can't. And the other thing, too, is I believe he is a monster. Is he a monster?
I don't think so.
Horticulus Slimex. I don't know if he's a monster or not. I have to look.
I love Horticulus, though. I have mine painted up.
Yeah.
Like Gary from SpongeBob SquarePants.
Wow. Really?
Kind of mixed with the guy, the crab who did the Shiny song.
Oh, jeez.
Moana. Yeah, so
Okay, some other notable changes. Plague drones, death head attack went down to 7-inch range.
but it's equal to the amount of models in a unit up to a maximum of 7, which is the same for Lord of Blights. And when he hands out ranged attacks to Blight Kings, it's the same thing. So you can get some volume of dice on that. So extra disease counters.
Yeah. I mean, it's just the way this army works is so cool. God, it's ridiculous. Okay, Elephant in the Room, Glockkin. 700
literally with
freaking
that
points.
Trunk like limb. See?
Yeah.
We got there.
He is.
We got there.
Yeah.
700 points.
Kragnos is 720. This thing is 700. It went up 2 wounds to 20 wounds.
Yeah, but he has a ward save and Kragnos doesn't.
Yeah, that's true.
And he synergizes with an army and Kragnos doesn't.
Yeah, he actually has a place in an army. And he only has a couple of cool abilities. Yeah. Oh my God. He is so cool. You do, if you're going to take a Glockkin, you have to build around it.
Yes.
But the Glockkin is so freaking cool. He has the ability. Okay, so at the start of enemy movement, any enemy within range of him, and I think it's 7 inches or 14 inches. I forgot.
It's really short. Like, you pretty much have to be in combat with him. But he forces you to, let's see. Yeah, that's right. You roll, enemies roll. If they exceed their bravery, or is it fail your bravery? Hold, folks, for technical difficulties.
Yeah, it's each enemy unit within 3 inches. Rolls 2d6. If you roll above their bravery, they have to retreat or take d6 mortal wounds.
Yes, please.
Okay, I'll take 2 cups of that.
Yeah.
Wow. You're going to get the Glockkin stuck in. Mm-hmm. He needs to be stuck in. He needs to be doing damage and spreading disease.
Yeah.
This whole thing basically means your enemy is either going to have to re-engage with you in order to take you down because you just sent them away, or you do d6 mortals to them. That's huge.
Oh, yeah.
Or, yeah, he has so many neat abilities going for him. Not going to go across each one of them, but he went up to 700 points for a reason.
Yeah, I would like to see him more like 600.
Yeah, he may have gone up too much, but again, I think they're trying to err on the side of caution.
Yeah.
Rather than saying, let's bring him in at 600 points and he dominates games. So,
and I think that's fair. It's better than, swinging to a toxic meta.
but
right. They want to stem the bleeding. And
wow. Okay.
Yeah. You should have queued up the drum set, Bill. There we go. Yeah, I think it's going to be fun. I think that there's a good case for a fun list of like him, Bloab, or Orgots.
Or Orgots, yeah.
And however many Blight Kings.
Blight Kings and Plague Bearers, or just Blight Kings.
Yeah.
Because, speaking of which, Blight Kings, battle line.
Yeah.
Hello.
And he has, Glockkin has the Fleshy Abundance spell, or Abundance of Flesh spell.
Yeah.
So he can give all of the Blight Kings +1 wound, which means there are 5 wounds.
Oh.
Which means they're counting as 2 on the objective.
They count as 2 on the... who knew you could do that?
Yeah.
Ah.
And they all went up 1 attack. They got rend.
Blight Kings became Vegematics. I mean, yes, they went up to 250 points. You're going to get your mileage. They are now on par with any other elite unit from any other army.
4-up save, solid.
5-up ward.
5-up ward.
So,
Jesus.
yeah, healing once per turn.
They have the Dolorous Toxin as well. Yeah, there's so much good. There is so much good. And you put Morbidex down here. He's just worth noting because I don't know if you're going to have to kill him in one go or he doesn't die.
Right.
Like you need to drop him from 13-0 when he's got a 3-up save and a 5-up ward.
And a 5-up ward.
Because he heals half of his wounds.
He's going to heal half of his wounds at the end of the battle shock phase. And you can... Wow. He is so good. So good.
I think there's going to be a real fun list, which is just 1 each of the Maggot Lords.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's going to put you at, 920 points, which means that you have 1080 to play with.
Yeah.
You can do any number of things with that.
So you can be looking at 2 units of Blight Kings and then just fill it out with Plague Bearers.
Well, you can
or
do
Puscoils.
3 units of Blight Kings for your battle line. Satisfy that. and then take the Harbinger of Decay. And the Harbinger of Decay can then be your general. And so with Orgots, I think it's Orgots, and the Harbinger, you're netting 2 to 4 command
points per turn.
Or CPs, whatever they are.
Some sort of point. You're going to get a point.
You're going to get a gold star.
You played well today.
Right. Yeah, and you're going to have these super tanky dudes.
Yeah.
Like Orgots on a 3-up. Bloab on a 4, then Twiceborn on a 3-up. Like those are really tanky guys.
Yeah.
And then you have your Blight Kings running up and punching things in the face. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. It's gonna be a lot of fun. But you definitely need an unnamed hero to be your vehicle for your relic.
Yep.
And your command trait. So yeah, man, I'm excited. The Pluscoils also they got 1 wound, so they're at 8 wounds now.
Yes.
Okay. Pluscoil Blight Lords, same as their the Lord of Afflictions.
And they got rend.
Oh,
and Pluscoils are elite.
Yeah.
So they command themselves. They give themselves their own command abilities. So you can now actually have a far-ranging cavalry unit that does what it should do.
Yeah.
So, yep, I can do all kinds of things to myself.
So,
all right, let's take a quick break and then we'll go over our overall thoughts.
Okay.
Because I am told the stakes are ready. Okay, so do you want to wrap this up with our overall thoughts of the book?
Sounds good to me.
Okay, I'm going to go with I come down firmly on the side of this book mystifies me in a bunch of different ways, and I think there's just a whole bunch of hits and a whole bunch of misses here. The big nerf to demons is got me scratching my head, but it's not like there's no part of this book that's not playable. So it's really weird. I really am looking forward to playing games with this to see how everything works together.
Yeah, I think what a lot of folks are going through is sort of like ticket shock, you know, when you're like, that costs how much?
Yep.
When you're expecting to walk in and buy it for, 30% less than it was. I'm not sure. I see a lot of strength in this book, like a lot. It just takes some playtesting. It's so different from anything we played before.
Yep.
We were so used to that, even as the changes were slow growing, when we're getting, now demons have different, plague hosts, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Like as it started developing, it's just different now. And it's one of those things that we have to work on, trying to see how it actually shakes out. What do the dice do? I mean, of course, you can always flub on dice and lose the game.
Okay, this is a dice game. You have to, and again, I say the disease mechanic is very, very
swingy.
It's very swingy, and it can have a huge impact on the game. And they literally, this book, I think, is pointed and designed around that mechanic having an average kind of effect on a game. The problem is you're rolling D6s, and taken as a whole, they can be averaged, but every D6 is its own D6. So it's one of those things, your probability is still 50-50, no matter what, no matter how many dice you roll. So hanging the entire book's cost on that mechanic, we're going to see whether or not that was a good choice or a bad choice. Now, have to imagine they play tested this once or twice. I'm hoping.
Probably.
So they probably are pretty satisfied with how it works. And on the flip side, I think they may have erred on the high side on the points.
Yeah.
But we don't know that until we throw it down, and I really want to throw the thrice fold befoulment down and just, does it have a hope? I think it does. Mm-hmm. I think there are as many builds in this book as there are probably Nurgle players. I don't think we're going to come out in 3 weeks and see there's 2 Nurgle net lists and that's it. I don't believe I said that was the strong point of the Stormcast and the what's his name? Orc book. They're so flexible.
Yeah.
And you can do so many different builds. And, like I said at the beginning of the show, there's a guy that he had a 2,000 point list and now it's 2,700 points. Well, yeah, it's gone up quite a bit. Not only every other army went up quite a bit, but there's also some baked in mechanics that never existed before. So pare that list down. And, if you're going to try to play it like it used to play 2 weeks ago, I think you're going to be sadly disappointed because there's so many new things you could explore.
No, I get it. And like when I was just sort of after absorbing everything that's come from online, I was like, well, there's all these different lists that you can try out, right? And folks want to min-max for tournament play and like, oh, competitive. Screw it. Play a damn game. Play what you want to play and then shake it out afterwards. There's a lot that needs to go into this. So, different builds I've seen. Like you can do a sort of a meme Twiceborn Nurgling spam list that would be just fun and funny to play. You've got your Thricefold. You've got your strict summoning.
Yeah, you can go heavy demons and still, they got nerfed.
Yeah.
Only in comparison to the last book, which is no comparison.
You got your Plague Drone spam. You've got your Puscoil Blight Lord lists. You've got your Blight King spam lists, and I say spam very lightly since it's $250 for 5. But there's some fun things in there, like weird little combinations that are going to be fun to experience. And so this early on, I mean, there are probably some people who are like, I want to take this to a tournament, right? And there are some obvious things I think you can do. Drowned Men's probably the quickest thing you can run to if you want a tournament, like weekend it comes out or 2 weeks afterwards, right?
Yeah.
We're also coming into what's considered holiday season. It does slow down a lot of the tournaments, and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So take your time to play test and find out what you like. I think with experience, our opinions are going to change with this book.
I think so. And I think it's better than a lot of people give it credit for, including myself. Mm-hmm. I know the comments that I wrote and the overall impressions make it looks like I hate this book. It really looks like I hate it. But the thing is when you compare it to the old book, this book is really strange. But if you take it as, hey, this is a new thing and let's start from the ground up. If you just start trying to adapt your current list into this format, I think you're going to find a lot of issues, and that's not going to be even a decent performing army. No. I think if you start from square one and look at what you have and look at how you can synergize it and decide, are you going to go full into this mechanic or that mechanic? The disease mechanic is baked into this game. How much you want to double down on it is up to you. And that could literally be the thing you count on to win the game. Mm-hmm. No matter what, it's 50-50. Up to 7 die rolls per unit of mortal wounds every turn. That's pretty spicy. And so you can double down on that, or you can double down on demons. You can the mortals I think the mortals is where it's at.
So let me ask you this, Bill, if you thought this. If there was a mechanic that an army had where it said at the beginning of all it said was at the beginning of the battle shock phase, you roll 7 dice, and on a 4-up, they take a mortal wound. If an army had, and for every unit, if an army had that mechanic, would you say that mechanic was strong?
Oh, hell yeah.
Face, right? And that's essentially what it's going to come down to.
That's what this is. Yeah.
That's what it's going to be. Either they're going to get locked in combat with you and hate life, right? Or they're not going to be on the objectives, and you will be.
And you are. So
like when I think of like KO and stuff like that, like, oh, we'll come down with our shooting. Actually, I think that discussing resilience is going to be really hard for them to chew through.
Yes.
And then they don't want to get in combat and start, just absorbing disease counters, right? Yeah. So they can't charge. They don't want to get charged. They're KO. And so you're just going to be sitting on the objectives being disgustingly resilient with like, crap, I'm just trying to like eke in on an objective to get a point,
or to wrestle a point from the Nurgle player.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I saw the big argument about Lumineth is just going to shoot this thing off the board. Well, okay, there's a possibility this army is going to be weak to shooting units, like every other army in the game right now. It's not like this stands alone in its weakness to shooting, and quite honestly, having a baked-in 5-up board means you're not going to be horrible at shooting or, getting shot at. So I don't really think that's a big issue.
Another thing to consider, too, when you think about it, they have no model with less than 2 wounds.
Right.
None at all.
So they make Slaanesh good.
Well, that's the funny thing. I was thinking about the mirror match between them and Slaanesh.
Oh, God.
With the amount of healing that this army does to itself while still having multiple wounds, right? Like, I feel like if it hits a certain rhythm, that game could not possibly end because you will also be summoning Nurgle.
Right.
While they're getting so much depravity, they keep summoning. but you heal and are so resilient that you don't actually take enough wounds to like meaningfully wipe out a unit.
Dear God.
Right. And so like a Nurgle Slanesh like matchup is going to be, it's going to be end of turn 5. And I would not be surprised if there are maybe even more models on the board than when you both started.
When you started.
Yeah.
I have 2,500. He's got 2,400. It's kind of a stupid game.
I can't really kill him, but I keep kind of getting some wounds, and then they keep coming back, but then I keep summoning. Like, it would just be bonkers.
There's some weird builds and matchups for this army. I think the straight out, Maggotkin are going to do really, really well against Stormcast.
Yeah.
They're going to do really well against any version of Orc.
Yeah.
Because the Orc's ability to just blow through battle line units isn't going to be as prevalent here.
Yeah.
And so you're just going to start wearing them down. I don't really know what they're going to struggle against. All their games are going to kind of be the same. And I think if anything's going to be bad with this book is that their games are always going to kind of be the same. Mm-hmm. It's a move towards the objectives, camp on the objectives, and just wait for them to try to kill you as you wear them down. So I can see maybe the only drawback to this book might be long-term boredom in playing it. Well, I mean, you're going to be able to build different armies to do different things, but it's all going to boil down to that. Let them come at me and let them break on the shore of Nurgle. And it'll be great fun because whoever can figure out a way to blast through it is going to win. And whoever can't, sorry, you lose.
I just thought of another list would be really fun. Might be pretty good.
Uh-oh.
Sorry. As you're talking about all this, like a list where it's still Drowned Men, but you take, I would say, 4 units of Puscoil Blight Lords, 1 Lord of Afflictions, and then devote the other 1,000 to Plague Bearers and, maybe a couple others, because you get the 8-inch move up front. So you're going to slam flies into their front line, probably turn 1, while the Plague Bearers very, just slowly run, come up and take the objectives. And so you just got this huge wave of bugs, which have a lot of real estate with their base. I think they're 50 or 60s, right? They're pretty big. And so you have them just sort of coming up the board in pairs, had Lord of Afflictions really kind of buffing 2 of them,
And starting to spread the disease as the just horde starts eating up the board.
Yeah.
And there's nothing you can do about it.
It just sounds narrative, doesn't it?
That is the definition of Nurgle.
Yeah.
I mean, they literally ponder across the board, and as you kill them, they come back. And as they engage with you, you become them.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. This is a horrible book. And
whoever play with this trash.
I mean, in a good way, it's a horrible book. So, yeah, I think overall, I got to give this book probably a solid B. And once you get past the sticker shock of the point increases, I think the book starts to make a lot of sense. And the army-wide abilities, and I don't think anybody can deny that this Nurgle plays like Nurgle from the books, from the lore.
Yeah.
This is a much better representation of how Nurgle works.
I agree.
Slowly wear you down until there's just not enough of you left to defend the place. And then we own it.
Yeah. No, I think it needs time.
Yep.
As Nurgle does.
Yeah.
Right? I see a lot of strength in it. What I like is that it's not just you look at it and go, oh, dragons. Play dragons.
Right.
Because if you play dragons, you win.
You win.
This book doesn't do that. And I think that some things got hit that I think should have been hit. And I know Great Unclean Ones are a favorite of everyone. But I really wanted to see them maybe get taxed quite a bit, but then actually see the Magath Lords come up and be decent. And I feel like they did that. I think Magath Lord lists are going to be so fun.
I hate that because I went all in on Unclean Ones.
All on demons, or do you have a good mortal setup where it
no,
go?
I am almost all demon. So,
well, welcome to the mortal realms.
Hey, it'll be great fun. It'll be more stuff to build and paint. So,
it's going to be a lot of fun. But yeah,
it really will.
So look forward to down the line, maybe in a month or two, us really sitting down with hey, we've played the game now.
Yeah.
With this very consistently, including mirror matches and all that.
Yeah.
And here's what we think.
Yeah, and we'll have Kai on for that because he's got a lot of experience with it, with the old, and he can contrast to the new. And we'll also cover the Path to Glory section in a lot more detail, probably in that same episode.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So, because the Path to Glory mechanics in this one look bonkers. I'm just trying to corrupt the landscape, and you're trying to take it back. And yeah, I like it.
Seems very Nurgle, but we'll definitely need the actual books.
Yeah, we'll have to put the book in hand to even think about that. So I think with that, we'll just close it off. Did you want to give it an overall grade? I give it a B.
I give it a TBD.
Okay, that's fair. I mean, literally, until you play it, how can you?
Yeah.
It might turn out Disease is the dumbest mechanic ever.
I'm very positive. So I should say if there's a scale between negative, neutral, and positive, I'm positive on the book. But there's just I need to roll dice.
Yep.
I need to move models and see just how it pans out. So hopefully in a month or two I'll be able to give my grade.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's a good call. All right. Well, thank you all for listening, and don't forget we have a Patreon, and hit like and subscribe.
Because the views really no, thank you all for listening and all that. And if you are a Patreon, well, I guess we'll see you after dark.
If you would like to get in touch with us, you can reach us at our Facebook page at www.facebook.com/rollingbadpodcast, all one word. Our Patreon page is at www.patreon.com/rollingbadpodcast, again, all one word. The Twitter account for the show is at rolling_bad. And our individual Twitters are, for me, at Bill Castello, BILLCASTELLO. And for Elric, it's at Elric Edge, ELRICEDGE. All of our guests on the show will have their contact information in that show's show notes. The music in the show is used courtesy of Kevin MacLeod at Incompetech.com and used under the Creative Commons license. The Rolling Bad podcast is protected under the Creative Commons Attribution 4.0 International License. Information for this license can be found at creativecommons.org.